Alright guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today. For this one, we are going to do another out and about video for you. So today, I am in Mochimune in Shizuoka Prefecture near Mount Fuji in Japan, and we're going to check out this place behind me. So this is the Villa, which belongs to West Coast Brewing, one of the most well-known and probably one of my favourite Japanese craft breweries these days. And this is what I guess you can probably consider to be their home bar. So really excited to be here. This is somewhere I've wanted to come for quite some time. Let's do as we always do. We'll go in, we'll have a little look around, we'll try some of the beers, we'll try some of the food as well actually, and we'll have a good time. So let's get started on this one. Really excited to be here. The Villa, West Coast Brewing, Mochimune, Shizuoka Prefecture in Japan. Hope you guys enjoy this one. Alright guys, well, this is the exterior of the villa, and as I said, this is West Coast Brewing's kind of home bar, if you like. It's actually got a hotel just on the upper floor there, so you can actually book to stay here, and they give you like 10 litres of beer when you book out the room. So yeah, the hotel price is a little bit more expensive, but when you consider the amount of beer and stuff that you get, and you can also take that beer away, it is actually pretty good value. But yeah, the brewery itself is in this building here. So a little bit later on, I'll take you out and let you see Mochimune Marina, and then a little bit further up that direction as well, and you can see the coastline, because it's really pretty actually. So yeah, you can see the famous blue house, which is featured on one or two of the cans that I've seen from West Coast Brewing so far. You can also sit out in the little garden here, and yeah, you can come in. So there you can see the Villa Barrow Lounge. You've got your greeting there, West Coast Brewing tap room open. So yeah, it looks really pretty, this one. I will admit this door is a little bit hard to open, so bear with me while we walk into this one. Let me just see. There we go. So yeah, when you come in, you're greeted by the really nice paintings and stuff like this. You see, we've got our man here who helps us. He's been very, very helpful. Yeah, so we've got the merchandise over here. Amanda's sitting chilling, waiting for me to get started on some beer. You can see the barrels over there, the cans, the merch. Then this thing's pretty cool, actually. It's Christmas, so Santa's out as well. They've got some of the glasses and things just over here. Some Hopdude artwork as well. Up there is where you'll go if you're staying the night. The hotel is just up here. And then, yeah, you've got the bar, which looks very, very nice as well. And the Hopdude's just chilling over there. And, yeah, there is your look out into the garden and things as well. So, yeah, really nice space, actually. But yeah, I guess it's about time to have a look at the first beer then. So let's see what they've got and let's do it. Alright guys, so we're here on the 22nd of December 2025, and this is the tap list that they've got today. So a good mix of stuff actually. So yeah, on the IPA section they've got Star Watcher, which we've seen quite a few times before. That's a regular one that's made it to Hong Kong. Had that quite a few years ago. But yeah, they've got Velstar as well, Session IPA. In the Hazy IPA section, Mr. Dudesky, that one's got fruit added into it. Then the Passion Fruit Party as well, Bullbeam Express. We need to try a few of the hazies, of course, because that's what this brewery's famous for. They've got the Blacklight Pale Ale up there, Barong Hellas, the Barong Dance, sorry, which I think is a Hellas with CBD added into it, which should be quite interesting. Super Strawberry Secret, which is a smoothie sour. I'll need to try that because I've not had one of those from West Coast Brewing yet. And if we go down a wee bit, they've got the Rouge Funk, which is one of their kind of wild ales, the Venti Drip Coffee Stout. Then up here, Spicy Black Book and Imperial Stout. Underneath that, there's the Hot Twilight as well, which is another one. And then, yeah, they've got two sakes as well. So we'll need to maybe try one of the sakes later because I love my Nihonshu. So, yeah, that is your tap list today at West Coast Brewing's kind of home bar in Mochimune in Shizuoka. Remember, 22nd of December 2025. So, yeah, there you go. Let's go on to the next beer. Alright guys, well, time for tasting number one then here at the Villa, West Coast Brewing, Mochimune, Shizuoka, Japan. So yeah, first off, massive shout out to Toshi, who sat and talked to us for quite a little bit there about the brewery. He was the guy that was waving when we came in. Lovely guy, speaks very, very good English. If you've got questions about the company, go and talk to him, and he's been here quite a few years from what he said. So yeah, he knows it all, and he knows his beer very, very well. But yeah, for beer number 1 then, we're going to start with this one, which is the how do you say, Barong Dance. It's a CBD infused Helles, so it should be quite interesting. This is the first CBD infused beer that I've tried on the channel, but yeah, I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork of the can. I borrowed one of these out of the fridge just to show you guys before we actually taste the tap version. But yeah, there we go. So yeah, this one, when it pours, it comes out a lovely kind of pale golden straw colour. When we got it, it had about half finger of a frothy, I would say kind of perfect white head there, and as you'd expect from a Helles lager, it's got a lovely kind of pale golden straw colour. It's got a little bit of like natural haze to it as well, so obviously it's kind of unfiltered and things. But yeah, remember, the Helles style is a German a German origin lager, if you like. So basically Helles is a blonde lager. Lagers are defined as beers that undergo fermentation at lower temperatures using bottom fermenting yeast. So yeah, the Czechs have an equivalent of this beer. It's called the Svetli, of course. But yeah, looks really nice, this one. Appearance-wise, it's pretty much what you would expect of a Helles lager. So yeah, let's just see what this one's going to have in store for us. I'll let you have a wee look at the artwork on the glass there as well, the West Coast Brewing symbol, and of course round here they have the Villa Barrel and Lounge the Villa and Barrel Lounge it's called, sorry. So yeah, the artwork on these little glasses is pretty cool. So anyway, let's have a wee look at the nose on this beer then and see what it's all about. So first off, it smells pretty much as you would expect from any German Helles, if you like. And what I look for in these beers is that they taste as they would in Germany or the Czech Republic or wherever. So, yeah, this one is certainly given very authentic vibes, if you like. And I know that they use Weirmann malt from Bamberg and Franconia in Bavaria in Germany here. So yeah, that'll be why it smells very authentically German, because it is using that German malt. So yeah, the aroma on this one is great. It gives you everything you want. You've got that wee bit of bready backbone, that little bit of crispness, and that bit of German noble hop. So yeah, the backbone of the beer, lovely fresh white bready bread crust in there. Wee touch of like Jacob's cream cracker and things. Little bit of woodiness as well for me. A touch of like a wholemeal, a touch of like wholemeal brown bready character as well, but mostly yeah, very fresh, very crisp, fluffy. White bread. I lived in Heidelberg for about a year in Germany. Loved my time there. I love the German bakeries, and smelling these German beers is very, very nostalgic for me. So I can sit and smell them all day. But there's a little tiny bit of like McVitie's digestive biscuit, a little bit of a little touch of like honey or something coming out of the aroma here as well. So yeah, I smell a little bit of a herbally thing from the CBD actually, but it's not overly noticeable, to be honest with you. So yeah, malty backbone of this one is great. The yeasty side of things, again, is kind of what you'd expect. It's got a little touch of a more sweet brown bready character to it, sort of crisp, fresh white bread as well. And then, yeah, you've got the, as I say, you've got that lovely wee bit of like crisp, fresh white bready bread crust in there. I wonder if there's a wee touch of Pilsner malt in this actually. But yeah, on the hoppy side of things, again, very German. I think they're using probably Hallertau or Tettnang hops in this one. But yeah, gives you that lovely smooth earthiness that you expect of the German noble hops, bit of woodiness, floral aromaticity, and a nice little bit of grassiness as well. The way that it goes together is lovely. Fruity side of things is what you'd expect. Little touch of like dry apricot, wee bit of like pear, sultana kind of things. Again, these are all things that you expect of this Helles lager style of beer. As I say, the CBD in this one doesn't come across to me as being overly overly prominent, actually. So yeah, aroma-wise, gets a big thumbs up for me. And I will point out too, if I'm not mistaken, this is the very first lager that I'm ever trying from West Coast Brewing. So this is quite exciting because I do love my German-style beers, as I've said a few times already. So yeah, let's have a taste of this one then and see what it's all about. This is the Barong Dance, a CBD-infused Helles lager, my first ever lager beer from West Coast Brewing and my first beer here at the Villa. So let's do it. Kampai. Oh yeah, that's nice actually. Yeah, straight away, it gives you everything you want from the style. It's one of the smoother and more kind of, yeah, it's one of the smoother and kind of slightly silkier Helles beers that I've had before, if I can say that. But again, it's very authentic in the way that it goes about its business, so it gets a big thumbs up from me. Let's break down the flavour of this one then and describe it for you a wee bit more in depth. So yeah, the backbone of this beer, you've got a lovely, very fresh kind of white bready bread crust in there. So yeah, fresh white bready bread crust. As you move a little bit further forward on the palate, there's that wee touch of woodiness that you expect. There's some Jacob's cream cracker on top of it as well. So yeah, Jacob's cream cracker sitting on top of that. And then, yeah, you have, how would you say, a little bit more of the kind of, there's a wee touch of a more wholemeal, brown bready kind of character coming out of it. Then there's the fluffier, fresh white bready character as well. But the white bready character's got a good little bit of density to it. So yeah, brown bready character, more dense white bready character. Then above that, in the centre you palate, you just get a little circle there. So at its core, it's a little bit more kind of honey-like. There's a wee bit of a McVitie's digestive biscuity character surrounding that as well. And I think, you know, the CBD, the sort of hempy flavour that comes out of this one is the hempy flavour that comes out of this one. You do get a little bit of it in the background, but I don't find it overly prominent. It kind of adds another more herbal dimension to the beer, I guess we could say. But yeah, I think that covers the malty side of it. So if you go to the back third of your palate, the yeasty side of things, so yeah, the yeasty side of the beer for me, it's, how would we say? The yeasty side of this beer for me, it's quite like, it's kind of brown bready at its core. It's a little bit more white bready further out. Then there's a wee bit of a more kind of fresh white bready, bread crusty character coming out of this one, which is really quite nice as well. So there's quite a bit of crispness in this beer into the aftertaste. I don't think there's Pilsner malt in this. It doesn't taste like there's Pilsner malt in it, but it does have a wee bit of the kind of crispness to it. But yeah, malty yeasty side of this beer is bang on, and that's very, very important to get right in these lager beers. Now on the hoppy side of things, back corners of the palate, you've got a little touch of earthiness in there. As you move further forward, it's a little bit more like woody and herbal. Then as you push further forward from that, there's some lovely like floral aromaticity. There's a lovely little bit of floral aromaticity there, then some nice grassy sort of zesty character. Just kind of coming out around the front edge of the tongue there. So yeah, all in all, the way that goes together is really nice, and that gets a big thumbs up from me as well. Yeah, I think that's everything we need to say about that. The fruity side of things then, front third of your palate, you get that nice oily bubble where the fruity juicy esters roll their way out of the beer, and you've got all the kind of bready layers underneath. But yeah, the fruity side of this beer is kind of just as I said it would be from the aroma. So yeah, fruity side of the beer for me, it's further back on that front front third of your palate, sorry, it's got a little bit more of a kind of apricot-y, you go further back, it's a little bit more like sultana, dry white green grape, it's a little bit like that. Then as you move further forward, it's got a little bit more apricot, and then some oily pear kind of sitting on top of that, and there's a wee touch of a more kind of citrusy, like lemon limey sort of note just behind the very front tip of the tongue, and that mixes in with all the grassy esters. But the fruitiness in this one isn't overly prominent, it's just kind of there on the back end and gives you that wee bit of citrusy zest along with the grassy part of the beer. So yeah, I think that describes the flavour really well. I really like this one actually, this is very, very good. So yeah, big thumbs up to West Coast Brewing for this one. My first lager beer from these guys, and I'm pretty impressed with it. So yeah, the mouthfeel of this then, what can we say about that? The mouthfeel, I would say that it's, yeah, I would say that this one, it's kind of light-bodied, in the middle range of light-bodied. Carbonation's got a lovely crispness to it. Like I said, the beer's got a lovely bit of silky, smooth kind of character to it as well. Wee bit dry into the aftertaste. We're probably talking about 20-ish IBUs with this one, which is normal for the style. Malt base is drier underneath, smoother in the middle, slightly sweeter on top, and then yeah, you've got that lovely little bit of fruity character to this one on the end. So a very, very good Helles. As I say, the CBD I thought might have been a bit more kind of prominent in this one, but I think it just adds a wee bit of a herbally kind of woody aftertaste to the beer, which does linger there a little bit. So yeah, really good stuff. This one was the Barong Dance Helles Lager at 5% ABV, CBD infused. Yeah, pretty good stuff I have to say. Let's leave it at that for this one and we'll go on to something else. Cheers. Alright guys, so as with any good brewery, there's a bunch of merchandise that you can buy and take away with you and enjoy. So they've got quite a wide selection of t-shirts and hoodies and things like that here, and they're pretty cool actually. So the first one they have is the one with the cans on it. This is just kind of plain, there's nothing on the back. The next one along, it's got a bunch of clocks and things on it, and there's taps on the back of it too. Probably my favourite one they've got is this one though, the Hop Dude Surfing Away, and then it's got the West Coast Brewing symbol on the back there. Yeah, this one's the kind of plain black one that you see a lot of the workers in the bars wearing. This is kind of cool. Then, yeah, you've got the black hoodie. Again, the West Coast Brewing symbol on the back there. The grey one is the same. Then you've got the white, sort of thicker t-shirt there as well, and that's got it too. This one has Mochi Mune in the sort of surf style letters and things. And then, yeah, it's the Hop Dude's 5th anniversary on the back. Then they've got this one here, which is a wee bit different. They're calling this one the Yojo sweatshirt. Nothing on the back of that. Then, yeah, this hoodie's a wee bit different too. A nice W on there and some cans on the back. And you can also buy bags that are made out of the old malt bags from, these are Weiermann bags from Bamberg in Franconia, Northern Bavaria, Germany. You can also get your regular West Coast Brewing tote bag as well. But yeah, I need to tidy these t-shirts up in a wee minute because I messed that display up. So once we're done, we'll fix that. But anyway, yeah, they've got other things over here as well. So you can get your wee West Coast Brewing sort of cool bag. I'm not sure what this is. This looks like it might be a little kind of towel or something like that. But yeah, you can get your plastic cups there as well. You've got your kind of crowler, your coasters, another sort of tote bag, like a surf towel as well, which has got the symbol of the house on it, a white one. There as well, and then you've got all your glasses, so you can get your teku glass, your tulips, and your little taster glass there as well. There's that plastic one that I was talking about too. There's this little thing too, which I think is very nice, and of course you've got your caps, and then yeah, they've got shipping boxes and stuff like that up there as well. So oh, a couple of little badges here as well. I didn't notice those. 800 yen. So yeah, quite a nice little selection of merchandise available here at West Coast Brewing in Mochi Mune. So yeah, I'm going to tidy this up, but let's leave it at that and I'll catch you guys with something else in a wee second. There we are. Alright guys, well, time for tasting number 2 then here at West Coast Brewing Villa in Mochi Mune. So this beer is actually one that I've had before, and it's one of their kind of regular beers. You see this one quite often. We get it in Hong Kong very regularly, and it's a style that I really do quite enjoy actually, but I haven't had this one for maybe a year and a half or something like that. But yeah, it's a style that I really do enjoy from this brewery. So yeah, beer number 2 is called Star Watcher, 7% ABV, a West Coast IPA. They list it on the menu as an American IPA. So yeah, when the beer poured, it came out with this kind of lovely half finger of a frothy, I would say kind of cream coloured head. You can see the beer does have a little bit of that kind of slightly natural haze to it, but yeah, it's a lovely kind of pale golden straw colour, this one. So yeah, remember, the colour of your beer depends on a few different things. One, the type of malts that you use. This goes a long way to determining your EBC rating. Two, length of your wort boil is going to play a role, because the longer you boil the wort, the more the sugars caramelise, and thus you get a darker colour beer. But any barrel aging you do or adjuncts you put into the beer will affect its colour as well. But you don't have to care about those latter two variables normally when it comes to the IPA style category, or IPA style umbrella, I guess we could call it. The other things to say about a West Coast IPA is that the way these differ from New England IPAs, hazy IPAs if you like, for the most part, is that these rely mostly on barley malt in their malt base. New England IPAs have a lot of oat and have a lot of wheat in them as well, and it's the oat and the wheat that give them their hazy appearance. These do have a little bit of natural hazy character if you don't filter them, but just looking at this one, I think this is probably filtered actually. But yeah, for me, West Coast IPAs can kind of lean two ways. There's two ends of the spectrum if you like. You've got the more biscuity, bready end of the spectrum, such as Pliny the Elder from Russian River Brewing, or you've got the more kind of oily, caramelly end of the spectrum, such as, you know, Torpedo from Sierra Nevada Brewing. Both, you know, those two are the benchmarks of this style for me. They were the first ones I was really introduced to. But yeah, just going by the colour of this one, it looks a little bit more kind of like bready. Like it's going to be more bready and biscuity in terms of its flavour. But appearance-wise, there's nothing untoward about this beer when you consider what style it is, and we've talked about all the technical stuff that we need to with this style. So yeah, I'll have a wee look at the aroma with this one. Or first off, I'll let you just have a little look at that. That's one of the other West Coast Brewing symbols, and it seems that this glass is one of their 4th anniversary ones. I'm not sure how well you can see that there, but yeah, one of the 4th anniversary glasses. So yeah, let's have a wee look at the nose on this one then and see what it has. Oh, yeah. Smells lovely, this one, of course. It's Citra, Simcoe, Mosaic in this one, incidentally. 3 American hops. Citra, 14% alpha acid, a lot of kind of oily mango sort of characters, wee bit of a lemon limey sort of thing. Then yeah, you have more. With Mosaic, you've got sort of 14% alpha acid, nice oily tangerine sort of thing. Simcoe is like 12% alpha acid, and it gives you more of a kind of soft passion fruity type quality. So yeah, all of these kind of things in this one are quite obvious, but you get a lovely oily fruity character out of this one, nice sweet bready and biscuity backbone. It's great. So let's just break that aroma down for you a wee bit then and describe it more in depth. So yeah, aroma-wise, this one is absolutely great. The backbone of the beer, you've got a lovely kind of fresh white bready bread crust. You've got a little bit of thanks. Oh yeah, our man Toshi's going away home, sadly. He's been really nice when we've been here, so big shout out to Toshi that you saw on the video earlier on. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, the malty backbone of this beer, lovely fresh white bready bread crust, nice little bit of Jacob's cream cracker to it, wee bit of woodiness as well, which is kind of what you want. Brown bread, thank you. Nice little bit of brown bread, fluffy fresh white bread in there. It's got that little bit of crispness, but also that little touch of sweetness that you want from the kind of German malt in there. Wee bit of toasty caramel, a bit more of an oily caramel as well, and yeah, lots of McVitie's digestive biscuity characters to it also. So yeah, the way this one goes together is really very, very nice. Aroma-wise, lovely stuff on the malty side of things. The yeasty character at the back of the nose, for me, smells like it's got a little bit of brown bready character, but yeah, quite white bready and kind of crisp if you like. So yeah, malty, yeasty side of this beer is bang on the money. This beer's quite nostalgic for me actually. But yeah, on the hoppy side of things, this one's kind of giving you everything you want. So when it comes to brewing an IPA, there are 3 types of hoppings you can do. You can do early addition hopping, which takes place within the first hour or so of your wort boil. That gives you a deeper, danker It gives you sort of deeper, danker green component, and it also is responsible for the vast majority of your bitterness. You've got late addition hopping, which takes place within the latter half hour or so of the wort boil. That gives you a little bit of bitterness, mainly flavour and aroma, very bright green component. Then you've got dry hopping, which takes place after the wort boil is complete, and that's all about flavour and aroma as well, and it gives you a very bright green component. West Coast IPAs tend to use all three types of hopping, which is why they're deeper, danker, more oily. New England IPAs tend to rely mostly on late addition and dry hopping, which is why they're kind of softer, more juicy, less bitter kind of thing. But yeah, the the aroma of this one on the hoppy side of things, little touch earthy. Yeah, you've got a little bit of earthiness to this one. Lovely wee bit of the earthiness is going to come from the mosaic, of course. Wee bit of woody character, wee bit of herbal note, floral aromaticity, and a nice wee bit of kind of zesty, grassy character coming out of it. So yeah, the way that goes together is really very, very nice. Green component's lovely on this one. So yeah, don't think we need to say too much more about that. But the fruity side of this one, yeah, you've got nice little bit of you've got quite a lot of oily mango in this one, softer passion fruit, apricot-y character in there. Yeah, mango, passion fruit, apricot, maybe a wee bit of pineapple as well. The passion fruit's the Simcoe, the other ones I think are mostly the Citra, and then yeah, big oily tangerine orangey character coming out of this one. But yeah, lovely lovely aroma to this one. So let's have a taste of it and see what it's all about. So yeah, this is Star Watcher, 7% ABV, West Coast IPA, one of the regulars here at West Coast Brewing. Slàinte, skål, kampai. Yeah, really solid IPA, this one, for sure. As I say, I love the West Coast IPAs. The West Coast Brewing West Coast IPAs are really, really good. This is one of the lighter ones that they do. I think they've done a few kind of like West Coast Pale Ales as well, but yeah, this is the kind of regular West Coast IPA you'll see from these guys. But we've had doubles and triples from them in the past, and they've always been really, really nice. So yeah, the way this one goes together is pretty damn good. And as I say, I enjoyed this beer when I tried it before. But yeah, gives you everything you want. Nice bready backbone, a little bit of sweetness, good green component to it, and nice oily fruity character. So yeah, the backbone of this beer, fresh white bready bread crust in there, a little bit of kind of Jacob's cream cracker, a little bit more of a more woody character further forward on the palate. You've got a layer of Jacob's cream cracker in there. Yeah, so layer of Jacob's cream cracker. On top of that, you've got a wee bit of a more kind of wholemeal, brown bready sort of note to it as well. And then yeah, above that you've got that fluffier, fresh white bready character. It has got a wee bit of crispness to it as well. So I would guess that maybe there's a little bit of like carapils or Pilsner malt in here or something like that. So yeah, the bready backbone of this one is really quite nice, and the lightness of the beer and the crispness of one, that kind of gives away that it's German malt, of course. But yeah, in the centre, in the centre of your palate, you've got that little circle there where you get the kind of brown sugary side of the beer. So there's maybe the base layer of that circle is a little bit toasty. Then you've got a lovely kind of McVitie's digestive biscuity character around the edge of it. Then in the dead centre of your palate, there's a more oily sort of caramelly kind of thing coming out of this one. So yeah, you've got a little bit of that boozy part of the beer in this one as well. So yeah, I love the boozy side of this, actually. Yeah, the way that goes together is really nice in this one. So that gets a big thumbs up from me. Yeah, I think that covers the malty side of this one. The yeasty side of the beer is kind of what you'd expect as well. The yeasty side of this one for me, at its core, it's got a more kind kind of dense brown bready kind of character to it, and then as you move further out from that, it's like a more airy, fluffy, kind of crisp white bread, and the very edge of the yeasty character is more of a bread crusty type note. So yeah, that does give you that wee bit of dryness into the aftertaste, and like I say, I suspect that this beer has a little bit of, I think it's got a little bit of Pilsner malt in it, which I think is great too. But yeah, definitely, yeah, back third of your palate, the flavour is taller, and as you move further forward into the middle third of your tongue, it just compresses down and squashes together that little bit more. So green component of this one. Back corners of the palate, you've got a little bit of earthiness in there. As you move further forward, it's a wee bit herbal, a wee bit kind of woody and things. There's a little touch of pine resin coming out of this one as well. Then yeah, as you move further forward toward the front corners of your palate, it's a little bit more sort of floral and aromatic, and you've just got that little touch of kind of spicy character to it. But then yeah, round the front curve of your tongue, it's a little bit lighter, more zesty and kind of grassy as well. So yeah, the way that that goes together is really nice in this one, and that gets a big thumbs up from me. The green component's good. So yeah, let's look at the fruity side of things. Front third of your palate then. So yeah, if you go to the back of that front third of your palate, at the back there's a little touch of grapefruit there. As you move further forward, you get the oily kind of mango from the Citra. Underneath, you've got the softer passion fruit from the Simcoe. And as you reach the middle of the front third of your palate, wee bit of apricot, wee bit of pineapple, of course. Then the front half of that front third of your tongue is all about the mosaic, that big sort of tangerine-y, orangey kind of note. So yeah, that nice big tangerine orangey note from the mosaic really kind of comes out in this one. And some people say that mosaic has a little bit of like blueberry character to it as well. I do get a wee touch of that in this beer as well, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, fruity side of this one is absolutely lovely. Now on the how do we say now, on the mouthfeel side of things, for me, this one, it's I would say that it's yeah, I would say that it's it's sort of mid-bodied. Carbonation's fairly smooth, but it does have a wee bit of crispness to it. And again, I suspect there's a bit of Pilsner malt in this beer, which is going to give you that as well. But then, yeah, the malt base, it's a bit drier underneath, smoother in the middle, a little bit sweeter on top. Your IBU count in this one, it's not going to blow the head off you in terms of bitterness. Yeah, it's not going to blow the head off you in terms of bitterness, but it's got, it must be about 60-ish IBUs, something like that. So yeah, it gives you that little bit of bitterness into the aftertaste, and then you've got that lovely oily, fruity character to this one, but you do get a wee bit more sweetness out of this beer into the aftertaste too. But all in all, a lovely West Coast IPA, this one, and I can see why they keep bringing this one back as a kind of core range beer, if you like. It's really solidly done. So yeah, this one is the Star Watcher, 7% West Coast IPA. Our first IPA of maybe 2 or 3 that we'll do here at West Coast Brewing Villa. So catch you guys in a second with something else. Cheers. Yeah, guys, so I thought this would be interesting to show you, but yeah, we've just come from the villa, which is just over there, and that little door over there, right there, you can see that is actually the entrance to the brewery factory, and that used to be where their kind of tasting room was a couple of years back, but obviously they've expanded a lot, and they've had to put the tap room across the road. So yeah, this building here is the abandoned tuna processing factory in which the brewery started, and it was renovated. The design was done by Derek Baston, the owner of West Coast Brewing, who is of course an architect by trade. But this is the Mochi Muni marina that you guys have heard me talk about on the West Coast Brewing videos for so long. I thought I would let you guys see it. But yeah, basically the first half of this building, if you like, is the Mochi Muni Port Spa. So might need to go in there after having had a few beers later. That could be a nice way to round off the day, actually. But yeah, this is the Mochi Muni Marina, and I have to say, for this being a December day, the weather's actually pretty decent. There you can see the stork just chilling away on the boat, actually. But yeah, if you walk along the marina a little bit, you'll see that on the other side of the brewery, basically, because the brewery kind of occupies the back half of this building, they've got this massive space here, which they can use for beer festivals and things like that. So yeah, there's videos of them doing exactly that. So yeah, they've got this massive big space that they'll open up for beer festivals and things. But yeah, this is the Mochimune Marina. There you go. Been wanting to see this for quite a wee while, and you can see the lovely mountains in the background of Shizuoka Prefecture, and Fujisan is up this way somewhere, but it's a bit cloudy to see it today. But yeah, Mochimune Marina, guys, there you go. So yeah, guys, just a very quick little thing. There you can see the entrance to the brewery part of that building you saw a second ago. They've got the malt outside, the kegs are there. If you look inside, you can see some of the fermentation vessels, and then you've got a bunch of kegs and things out there as well. But yeah, that's the entrance to the brewery, as I said, right across the road from the villa. So there you go. Alright guys, just another little tiny segment for you here. I just wanted to show you guys the Mochimune coastline, because it's really very, very pretty, I have to say. Just look at that. And it's crazy that this is December, you know. I'm used to Scotland and Sweden, dark and miserable weather in December, but this is lovely. I can imagine in the summer this is absolutely awesome. But you can just see the entrance to the Mochimune Marina just right up there. But yeah, I have to say, really enjoyed my little walk from the train station just up this road here to get to the brewery. So yeah, that's a little look at the Mochimune coastline for you. There you are. Shizuoka City is just up that way as well. So yeah, beautiful part of Japan, I have to say. Alright guys, well, time for tasting number 3 then here at West Coast Brewing Villa. So yeah, for beer number 3, we are going to go to a style that this brewery is very well known for, but this particular beer also has a little bit of a Swedish connection, and to be specific, a Skåne connection. So a little bit close to my heart, this one. I think we'll need to get a can of this to take away. But yeah, beer number 3 is called Mr. Dudski. It comes in at 8% ABV. It's a New England Hazy, Imperial Double, whatever you want to call it, IPA, and it's brewed in collaboration with the wonderful Brewski Mikrobryggeri from Helsingborg in Skåne in the very south of Sweden, which was very close to where I was living in Lund for a long time. So yeah, really cool to come here at this time and find a beer that's brewed in collaboration with Brewski, of all people. So yeah, Mr. Dudski, a New England Hazy double IPA with mango added into it. So obviously this one is maybe a little bit of a tribute to the Brewski Fever series, which is one of the things that really propelled Brewski to being quite well respected in the craft beer genre, if you like, or can we call it that, the craft beer world. So yeah, the beer pours this lovely kind of bright yellow mango juice colour, as you would expect. And when it came out, it had a head of about, had about a half finger of a frothy, kind of cream coloured head there. And yeah, it looks really nice, this one. So you can see, lovely, pretty damn opaque beer, this one. Remember, the level of haziness in these beers depends on the oak content, wheat content, and to a degree what yeast you use. That can vary from brewery to brewery, beer to beer, and so on. So yeah, this one, I have to say, looks pretty much bang on for what you'd expect for a New England IPA. There's not much in the way of visible carbonation. You can see a few bubbles coming up and kind of breaking the surface of the beer, but yeah, it looks absolutely lovely, this one. So yeah, pretty much as you'd expect appearance-wise from a New England Hazy IPA. Remember, the two things that kind of define this style from the other IPAs, this one's got quite a little bit of wheat and oat in its malt base, and also they tend to use late addition and dry hopping, which we explained earlier on in the video. Not so much early addition hopping, which would give them quite a little bit more bitterness. But yeah, that's all we need to say about the beer and the kind of style and stuff like that. Let's have a wee look at the aroma of this one then and just see what it's all about. Oh yeah, so aroma-wise, this one is everything you'd want from the style. So, as I've said in many a New England IPA review before, for me there's kind of 6 ways this style can lean in terms of its malty and yeasty character. So you've got the kind of farmhousey yeasty side of things, the rye leaning grainy character as well. And those elements tend to be a little bit more common in New England brewed New England IPAs. Because as the style has moved elsewhere, of course, the style started off as a farmhouse IPA, but then as it's moved elsewhere and evolved, the focus is a little bit more on, how would we say, like oaty creaminess, barley malt bread, wheaty bitiness, and also the sweeter side of things. So just going by the aroma of this beer, this one comes across as being quite an oaty leaning New England IPA, but of course the mango is going to kind of skew that a little bit, because whenever you add fruit into an IPA as an adjunct, it's always going to suppress the green component a little bit actually, and sort of smoothen the beer out. So you can definitely get a bit of that going on in this one. So quite an oaty leaning New England IPA, but in fairness, you do get a little bit of wheaty bitiness in the back of the nose, and there's a little touch of sweetness to this one too. So let's just break down the aroma of this one and describe it for you a bit more in depth. So yeah, the backbone of this beer, for me, it's there's definitely a little bit of that fresh white bready bread crust in there, little touch of woody character, a little bit of Jacob's cream cracker, as you very often get. There's a wee bit of like a sweet wholemeal brown bready character in there as well. Fresh fluffy white bread, a more dense wheaty white bready character coming out of this one as well. A little bit bitier in the back of the nose, like I said. And then there's quite a little bit of oaty note coming out of this one. And oats are always an interesting component of New England IPAs, because essentially the fresher your New England IPA is, the creamier the oats are going to smell and taste. The older the beer is, the drier they're going to kind of smell and taste. And this one, of course, being on tap, it's very, very fresh. So there's lots of oaty creaminess coming out of this one. But you have that lovely little bit of, like Werther's Original, butter candy butterscotch coming out of this one. And also a little bit more of a McVitie's digestive biscuity character to it as well. So aroma-wise, the malty character in this one, I think, is really, really quite nice, and it gives you everything you want. But you can smell it feels a little bit just thicker and creamier, if you like. Probably 1 because it's on tap, and 2 because it's got that mango addition to it. So yeah, the yeasty side of this beer at the back of the nose. It's quite fresh and white bready, so you can smell that big, dense, fresh white bready character to it. It's a little bit kind of, you do get a little bit like bread crust and stuff out of that, but yeah, dense, fresh white bready character, a little bit of that crackery note, and a wee bit of fresh white bready bread crust as well. So yeah, the way that all of this goes together, the malty, yeasty side of this beer is really, really very nice in this one. So that gets a big thumbs up from me. Yeah, the hoppy side of this one then, let's focus on that. So I should tell you as well, this beer has Mosaic Cryo and Rakow in it. So Mosaic we know quite well, 14% alpha acid hop, big tangerine orangey character. There's a little bit of earthy note as well. When it's in its cryo form, it's going to be very smooth. Rakow, a New Zealand hop, if I remember rightly, it's about 10% alpha acid, gives you quite a little bit of like grapefruit and yeah, it gives you quite a little bit of like grapefruit and things like that from what I remember as well. But it also gives you a fair little bit of like passion fruit and stuff like that as well, and can give you a bit of. Is it the one, or am I mixing that up with Riwaka, which is quite possible? But yeah, Rakow is a lower alpha acid hop, and I think it tends to give you more of an apricot-y note, but it can give you a wee bit of grapefruit and things. But yeah, the green component of this one, definitely you get that little bit of earthiness from the Mosaic. You get that lovely kind of floral aromaticity, and because it's cryo in there, it's very, very smooth. And of course, you've got that little bit of zesty grassiness in there. But yeah, the fruity side of this one, as you'd expect, it's all about the mango. You smell that smooth, kind of creamy mango, almost like mango lassi type character coming out of this one. But of course, underneath that, you do get that tangerine orangey character from the Mosaic. Oh, dipped my nose in that one a wee bit too much, got too excited. So yeah, there's a wee bit of that tangerine orange in there. There's apricot as well. And you've also got like little bits of like passion fruit and stuff like that. So passion fruit, apricot, and yeah, a lot of tangerine orange in this one. aroma-wise, this is lovely, and I have to say I'm just very, very curious to see what this is going to have in store for us. So let's try it and see what we get. This one is the Mr. Dudski, an 8% New England double IPA with mango in it, in collaboration with Brewski from Helsingborg, Skåne, my home county, or my Swedish home county, I should say, in the south of Sweden. Let's have a taste of this one. Slange, skål, kampai. Oh, I'm going to say straight away, that's nice, but it's very, very fresh. You can feel a little bit of it's still got a little touch of it's still got that little touch of just green from the hops in this one. It's very, very, very fresh. That's the thing. This one, I would say straight away, this maybe needs another 2-3 weeks just to kind of mellow out a little bit to be in its prime. So yeah, going to get a can of this, take it back to Hong Kong with me, and we'll review it again a bit later, because yeah, it's very well done. This is going to be a very good beer when it mellows out a little bit more, but it's very, very, very fresh. And I think, yeah, that's one of the things with New England IPAs that you have to be a bit careful of. If you put them out a bit too early, they just have a little bit too much kind of green to them. And I think that's where this one kind of is at the moment. It's just slightly too fresh, I think, to be put on tap. But other than that, when you get over that, the aftertaste of this one is beautiful, and it kind of shows you what this beer is going to be in a couple of weeks' time. So I'm going to say big thumbs up to both breweries with this. This one, as I say, it is just a little touch fresh, but this is going to be a very, very good beer. So yeah, in fairness, when you take the second sip and your mouth is adjusted to that, the effect is a little bit less, but yeah, you can feel this one. It's just very, very fresh, for sure. But yeah, that's going to be the aftertaste and the flavours that this one gives you. Once you get past that, it's awesome. And you know, Brewski, those guys are really well known for like hazy IPAs, the kind of fruity IPAs they did years ago. Their kind of fruity smoothie sours, the pie series, and their big imperial stouts these days. This is another great beer from them. I'm not surprised. So yeah, let's break the flavour of this one down then. So yeah, the backbone of your beer, you've got that lovely fresh kind of white bready bread crust in there. When you move further forward on the palate, there's a little bit of woodiness coming out of it. I think the woodiness actually comes out of this one quite a bit into the aftertaste. And I'm not sure if that's the mango that's kind of promoting that, but then yeah, you've got a layer of like Jacob's cream cracker. And I would say as well, there's a layer of, above that, there's a slight layer of like a wholemeal brown bready character too. Yeah, so a kind of wholemeal brown bready character coming out of this one as well. And yeah, that kind of gives the beer a little touch of sweetness into the aftertaste. But then yeah, you've got that fluffy, dense, fresh white bready character from the barley malt above that. Then you can feel the more dense, wheaty white bready character in this beer. And I will say, this one is a little bit more wheaty leaning than I was thinking it would be from the aroma. And that really does remind me of the Feber series that Brewdog used to do. Their beers always had a little bit of that wheaty bite, and you definitely get that toward the back of the palate with this beer. You get that lovely kind of big wheaty bite coming out of this one. So that gets a thumbs up from me. So yeah, this one I think is really quite nice. On top of that, as I say, you've got that more dense, wheaty white bready layer. It's a little bit smoother further forward, but a bit more bitey further back. Remember, sweeter flavours come out further forward on the palate, more dry and bitter flavours come out further back. But yeah, on top of the wheaty layer, you get the oaty creaminess. So down the middle line of your palate there, you can feel that nice, thicker, more dense, creamy kind of oaty character. Then out toward the edges of your palate, you've got a little bit more of a kind of drier, oaty side to this one. But yeah, as I say, this beer is very, very fresh. I think some of the dryness out of this one is coming from that slight little bit of green that the beer has, because it just needs that wee bit more time to kind of mellow out, if you like. So yeah, on top of the the kind of oaty layer I was talking about. In the dead centre of your palate, you've got that little circle there, which has a wee bit of like a Werther's Original butter candy, butterscotchy sort of note coming out of it. So yeah, a little bit of Werther's Original butter candy, butterscotch. Wee bit of like McVitie's Digestive biscuity character to it. And yeah, the way that goes together is really very, very nice. So yeah, I love that little mix of stuff that's going on in this beer. The malty character on this one is really nicely done. So yeah, let's go to the back third of your palate then and have a wee look at the, pardon me, bit of gas out of this. Let's have a wee look at the yeasty side of things. So at its core, the yeasty part of this beer, it's got a more dense, kind of sweet brown bready character to it. As you move further out from that, it's got a little bit more of a, it's got a little bit more of a kind of fresh white bready character. Then you've got that Jacobs, that Jacobs cream crackery note and a wee bit of fresh white bready bread. So the yeasty character does give you that wee bit of dryness into the aftertaste. Now on the hoppy side of things, so yeah, the hoppy side of this beer, in the back corners of the palate, you've got a nice little bit of earthiness in this one. That's your mosaic that's going to give you that. But yeah, as you move further forward, you do get a little touch of that kind of pine resiny note out of this one. Then yeah, there's a wee bit of kind of floral aromatic spice as you reach the front corners of your palate, and then round the front curve of your tongue, it's just a little bit lighter and more kind of grassy and zesty, I would say. So yeah, the way that goes together and this one is really nice as well. So yeah, lovely grassy, zesty character to this beer too. But whenever you add fruit into the beer as the adjunct, it's always going to suppress your green component a little bit, and you can feel a wee bit of that going on here with the mango character. But yeah, let's focus on the fruity side of things with this one. So yeah, fruity side of this beer for me. On top of the fruity side of things, you've got this, on top of the bready layer, on top of that, you've got the kind of nice oily bubble where the fruity, juicy esters roll the way out of the hops. But you can feel the mango layer in this one just kind of sits on top of the kind of malty base, if you like. Then on top of that, you start to get the oily side of the fruit. So for me, at the back of that front third of your palate, you do get a little bit of that kind of grapefruity character that Racal can give you. Then yeah, as you move further forward from that, it gives you a wee bit of the kind of oily mango. Then into the front half of that front third of your palate, you get the big tangerine notes out of this one. But I do feel there's a bit of like apricot-y sort of note in there as well. So you've got the lovely kind of apricot-y character on the base, the big juicy kind of oily mango-y note from the hop there, and then a bit of the stronger grapefruit and the mango base underneath. But yeah, quite a little bit of the tangerine orange from the mosaic, as you'd expect when cryo's involved. So let's round off this one with a wee look at the mouthfeel. For me, mouthfeel wise, this beer, I'd say bottom end of full bodied. Carbonation's very smooth in this one. It's got a lovely silky mouthfeel to it. Slightly oily at the same time, but kind of creamy in the backbone. As I say, this one comes across as being quite bitter in the beginning because it's obviously very, very fresh. So to me, this beer feels as if it's got about 50, 60 IBUs, but I'm guessing that'll mellow back to be about, 40, maybe 40-ish by the time the beer is kind of in its prime. But of course, as I say, it's got a bit more wheaty bite to it, this one as well, so that gives the beer the impression of a wee bit more bitterness as well. So yeah, to me, 60, 70 IBUs wouldn't be out of the question for this one, but as I say, I think this will mellow back. The green will kind of drop out of this one a little bit, giving it a few more weeks. But yeah, the malt base a bit dry underneath, smooth in the middle, kind of sweet, creamy on top. And then yeah, you've got that lovely fruity character to this one. Really interesting beer, this one. Quite nostalgic for me. It does remind me of the old Feber series from Brewski back in Helsingborg in Sweden, which I really enjoyed back in the day. So yeah, I think we can leave it at that for this one. This was Mr. Dudski, an 8% New England Hazy Imperial, or whatever you want to call it, IPA, with mango added into it, a collaboration with Brewski in Helsingborg in my Swedish home county of Skåne in the very south of the country. Really cool to find this one while I was here. Let's leave it at that for this, and we'll go on to something else in just a wee second. Kampai. Alright guys, so after beer number 3, the hunger set in. So yeah, I decided to go for the potatoes and a little bit of chicken along with the mac and cheese, and Amanda went for the coleslaw with a mac and cheese as well. So yeah, let's see what this is all about. I'm very curious about this. It's supposed to be quite good, so here we go. Alright guys, well let's see what the food is all about then. I'm very, very curious about this. So we'll start off with the mac and cheese, because I think that's potentially the most kind of neutral thing on the palate. So let's have a wee look at this. It's quite crispy on the toppy, but I think this is going to be roasting hot. Surprisingly kind of nice for the price that we got it for. I think it was 700 yen this. Actually a pretty solid portion actually. I was expecting it to be a little bit smaller, to be honest with you. But it looks great, just look at that. Nice little bit roasty on top, kind of, yeah, melty cheese on the inside. Looks great. Okay, yeah. So, it's got a nice mix of like, kind of herbal character. Yeah, there's a wee bit of herbal character, peppery kind of stuff in it. And it's got just that right blend between being kind of saucy and between being saucy and kind of a little bit baked, if that makes sense. They've got the mix on this just right. And I would say the cheese is a nice mix too. It's, you know, I think the Japanese don't tend to have they don't tend to eat very, very strong cheese that often. So this one feels as if it's a bit more, it's got a good little bit of cheddar to it, but it's still got a wee bit of the more kind of lighter mozzarella kind of character, I would say. I think that's fair. We take the more saucy bit from the bottom. Yeah, I think that statement balances. Yeah, it's a kind of cheddary leaning mac and cheese, this one. But whatever they've done with it, it is pretty nice. I'm going to enjoy finishing that off. So yeah, let's have a wee look at the kind of potato things. Obviously they've chopped up wee bits of potato here, seasoned them. Let's see how they are naked. Okay. Quite a sweet potato actually, in honesty. Little bit of salt and pepper on it. Got a wee bit of that down my throat right enough. Just as a naked potato, yeah, I find this one a bit sweeter. But yeah, that's quite interesting. See, the potato itself is a little bit sweeter. It's got a wee bit more kind of salt and pepper character to it. And the sauce, I think, what is that, a slightly chili mayo type thing? Yeah, the sauce is like a slightly, like sweet chili mayo. I think that's what it is. If you try it with the sauce, it works pretty well, I have to say that. Okay. So yeah, the sweet chili mayo, of course, isn't all that spicy. But let's have a wee look at the chicken and this one then. I think I got some salt down my throat there, but the chicken looks great. I only ordered one piece of this because I wasn't quite sure how big it was, but it looks great, really nicely seasoned. Let's have a taste of it on its on naked state, if you like. Oh yeah, okay. Inside of that, look at that. That's really nice, really tender, not too oily. They've cooked that beautifully, I have to say. Yeah, that looks nice. Let's try it with a little bit of the sauce actually and see what we get. Oh yeah, no. That is really, really nice. Yeah, one of the less oily kind of chicken pieces that I've had, or you wouldn't call this karaage. You would just call it like a kind of chicken cut, I guess. But the way it goes together, I think, is really, really nice. So it gets a big thumbs up from me, this one. Yeah, food quality is really nice. See, the potatoes are quite sweet for me. I don't think they are actually sweet potatoes. I think they are just local, like these little potatoes. But yeah, the food quality is good. The thing I would say is, though, for me, West Coast Brewing, they're known for the burgers. You know, a lot of people talk about how good their burgers are on social media. And also I've heard that the gyoza are very good as well. So I think when it's their home bar, you know, when Villa is their home bar, they should have burgers, gyoza, and these things on the menu as well. So yeah, that's one very slight criticism I would say, is that they need to have I would say have the burgers and the gyoza here as well as the other stuff they've got on the menu, because this food is good. But yeah, if you come to the home bar, you want kind of everything to be available, if that makes sense. But yeah, food quality very good. I'm happy with it. I'm going to go away and enjoy the rest of this. I'll catch you guys in a second with something else. Cheers. Alright guys, well, time for our fourth and penultimate tasting then here at West Coast Brewing Villa. So yeah, for this one we are going to go to another style that I've never tried from West Coast Brewing before, but it's one that they are supposed to be pretty good at, and I have to say I'm quite curious to see what this one is going to have in store for us, because it is a style that I do quite enjoy, and it's also a kind of tap exclusive one from what I understand, because it's a wee bit different from the version that has come out in cans. So yeah, the next beer is called Super Strawberry Secret. It comes in at 4% ABV, and this one is a smoothie sour, obviously with strawberries. So in can they have the Strawberry Secret, which I think is about 5% ABV, and from what the guys in the bar were telling me, the Strawberry Secret is a base beer, but with this Super Strawberry Secret that they have on tap, they've added a lot more kind of stuff to it and played with it a little bit more. So this one apparently is the more kind of amped up, souped up, whatever you want to say, version of this beer. But yeah, anyway, you can see this one, soupy and gloopy as fuck is the way to describe this one. So yeah, it looks absolutely lovely, I have to say. You know, kind of in line with what we've seen from this style before. Obviously, I got into this style of beer with the likes of you know, Elm 11, Duck Pond, Fermenterna in Sweden, and then these days, since I've moved out to Hong Kong, I'm very familiar with the likes of One Drop from Australia and things. But yeah, I've had very few of this particular style from Japan actually, so that's definitely worth bearing in mind. But yeah, anyway, you can see the beer has poured this kind of really interesting sort of murky dark brown colour. When it came out, it had this really like yogurty, bubbly sort of head on it. That's faded away to just be a very, very thin foamy layer, but you can see the bits of strawberry just kind of sticking to the side of the glass on this one. It looks absolutely awesome. But yeah, the haze in this one, or the opacity, the opaqueness, whatever you want to call it, looks pretty damn good. There's very little in the way of carbonation visible in this one. You can see some bubbles just on the surface of the liquid there, but overall it does look pretty damn good, I have to say, and it's pretty much what you would expect from the style. So remember, in this particular style of beer, most of your colour is going to come from the fruity adjunct that you choose. So yeah, this one is pretty much all strawberry, we can safely say that. But yeah, for me, when it comes to the smoothie sours, these beers, in terms of their flavour profiles, they're very straightforward, but if they're well done, they are awesome beers to drink. And I'm hoping that with how well West Coast Brewing do everything else, they're also going to do this kind of smoothie category very well. So, but I have confidence in them, let's say that. So yeah, nothing else we really need to say about the appearance of this beer. Let's have a wee look at the aroma of this one then and see what it's all about. Very, very curious. Oh yeah, right. I'm going to say straight away, the strawberries in this one are really very, very tart, and I actually quite like that about this one. And when you come to Japan, like things like grapes and strawberries, raspberries and stuff like that, they always tend to be a little bit tartar. I think the soil is a little bit more acidic in Japan, if I remember correctly, because it is of course a volcanic island, and that just gives the fruits this little bit more of a kind of sharpness to them, and the grapes especially are what I noticed it with. But you can smell that in the beer then, this big strawberry. It's juicy in the background, but it does have that little bit of sharp potency to it, which makes it quite interesting. But underneath all of that strawberry character, you do get a little bit more of a kind of candied strawberry, if you like. If you think about the Haribo Straub sweets that you can get, there's quite a little bit of that sort of character coming out of this one, which I do really like. So yeah, the way that goes together in this one I think is pretty awesome. And there's maybe little hints of like fig and black currant and stuff like that too. But behind everything else, you do have this big sort of yogurty character. I mean, there's bready malt in there, there's a little bit of bread crust, a little bit of cracker, white bread, but for the most part your malty backbone in this beer is like a big, like Muller Corner munch bunch yogurty type character that comes out of it. So it's absolutely lovely. The yeasty character gives you the same kind of vibes. It's that big sort of vanilla Muller Corner yogurt type character that comes out of this beer. Now when it comes to sour beers like this, it's always interesting to ask the brewers what kind of hopping mentality they have with these beers, because if you go back to the old school wild ales and things like this, the lambics and the Flanders Reds, the brewers would add older hops to the beers that had lost a little bit of their alpha acid potency. If you fast forward to the modern era though, brewers will tell you, you'll get mixed messages, because some brewers will tell you, we're adding fruit into the beer which is going to suppress the green component of the hops anyway, so we won't bother adding hops, whereas some other brewers will tell you, no, we'll add a little bit of hop to it just to give the beer a wee bit more complexity. So yeah, it really just depends on what the brewer wants to do in essence. But just going by the aroma of this one, I don't think there has been hop added to this beer, because the strawberry I think is suppressing all of it. But that said, you do get a wee bit of a kind of placebo green component coming out of this one. There's a tiny bit of earthiness, a wee bit of woody herbally sort of thing, bit of floral character, but mostly that kind of placebo green component that's in here is it mostly is a kind of grassy character that I'm getting out of this, to be quite honest with you. So the way that goes together is quite interesting as well. So I think with that, we've said everything we really need to say about this one. The only other thing I would add is that this beer, it really reminds me of the Fab ice lollies that I used to eat when I was a wee boy back in Scotland. The aroma of this one really, really reminds me of that. So way that this one goes together aroma-wise is pretty nice. So yeah, this one is the Super Strawberry Secret, 4% ABV, my very first smoothie sour from West Coast Brewing. Let's get stuck into this one. Kampai. Oh yeah, okay. Now, this one, it's pretty much like drinking yogurt. I think that's the best way to describe this. Yeah, I think that's the best way to describe this beer, in all honesty. I've not had many smoothie sours on tap before, so one of the things that's going round in my head is this beer just a bit lighter and a bit more drinkable in a sense because it's on tap? Which I often find the mouthfeel in tap beers tends to be a little bit lighter almost. So that's one thing that's going round in my head with this one, but it is literally just like kind of strawberry drinking yogurt, this beer, and there's nothing wrong with that. I like that, so yeah. Alcoholic strawberry drinking yogurt. As I said, flavour profile of these beers is quite straightforward. If it's done well, they're great to drink. This beer seems to be no exception to that unwritten rule. So yeah, let's break the flavour down. Backbone of the beer, you do have a little bit of that fresh white bready bread crust in there. Further forward, you've got a little touch of woody character to this one. Some Jacob's cream cracker just sitting on the top of that. And then you have a little bit of, as I say, you've got a little bit of the fluffy kind of white bready character from the malt base, but then you've got this big thick yogurty layer in there, which is the mixture of the oats and the wheat, and it's very much, you get that vanilla flavour into the aftertaste for sure. So that big vanilla aftertaste that comes out of this one is really nice, and it mixes well with the strawberry actually. So on top of the oaty character with this one, you do get a little circle there in the middle of your palate, so it's got a bit of this kind of like Werther's Original butter candy, butterscotchy character, and it's got a wee bit of like McVitie's Digestive biscuity character to it as well. So the way that all of that pieces together in this one, I think, is really very, very nice. I think the way it pieces together is, as I say, a very straightforward beer, but it works. It really is strawberry, a mixture of vanilla, strawberry, drinking yogurt. That really is it. On the hoppy side, on the back third of your palate, then the yeasty side of things, again, at its core, like a really dense, smooth, white bready character. It's got a wee touch of that kind of yogurty acidity to it. It goes together really, really nicely. On the kind of hoppy placebo effect side of the beer, if you like, you've got a little bit of, there's a tiny wee bit of earthiness coming out of this one. Wee bit of a herbally woody kind of character. As you move further forward, touch of floral note, little bit of grassy note. And then, yeah, it's pretty much all suppressed by the kind of strawberry character of the beer. So yeah, I don't think we need to say much else about that. If you go to the front third of your palate, where you've got the fruity side of things, you've got all those layers underneath there that I was talking about. So yeah, you've got all that nice kind of bready, yogurty kind of layer. Some of the oaty creaminess creeps forward too. Then yeah, the juicy strawberry sits on top of that, and and the way that goes together is also very, very nice. So yeah, juicy strawberry in there. It's got just a wee bit of sharpness in there. This one isn't going to blow the head off you in terms of sourness, by the way. It just gives you a little bit of sharpness when it comes in. Then it's all about the juicy side of the beer. Yeah. So mouthfeel wise, for me, this beer, bottom end of full bodied, carbonation is very, very smooth. As I say, it's got that drinking yogurt kind of creaminess to it, if you like. Wee bit of acidity in the beginning. Your IBU is pretty much 0 in this, 5 IBUs at the absolute most. The malt base is drier underneath, smooth in the middle, very creamy on top, very slightly sweet. And then yeah, you've got that lovely kind of juicy character coming out of this one as well. So yeah, all in all, the way this one goes together, I think, is really nice, and it gets a big thumbs up from me. So yeah, I think we can leave it at that for this one. This has been a really interesting one to try, so I look forward to trying more smoothie sours from West Coast Brewing. This one is pretty solid. It's just one fruit, so it would be interesting to see these guys kind of experiment with this style a wee bit more and just see how they go. But yeah, if this is one of their first smoothie sours they've done, I think it's a fairly solid start, so we'll see more from these guys later on. But yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. The Super Strawberry Secret, 4% ABV. Very nice introduction to this style from West Coast Brewing. I'll catch you guys in a second with something else. Cheers. Alright guys, so I only kind of skimmed over this earlier on, but I noticed that this cabinet of glasses, they're actually all different. So they're obviously from different eras of West Coast Brewing. So it's kind of cool to see the different designs on these. If it doesn't focus too much on my reflection, you can see, I guess this pint glass will be the original West Coast Brewing one. And yeah, you've got all of these kind of like almost can-shaped glasses as well. And down here you've got these ones. As I say, the reflection isn't doing me much favour at the moment. But yeah, they've got all the different kind of small tulip glasses and stuff like this. Then down here some other different designs on the pint glasses and stuff like this. A nice bigger tulip actually. That would be one that I'd be interested in having for the channel. There you go. And the reflection really isn't working very well for me here. But then yeah, you've got the kind of Scandinavian style 400 milliliter glass there. The Japanese kind of mug, and then all the other pint glasses too. So yeah, I didn't realise initially that all of these glasses were actually different. So there you go, that's pretty cool to see. But yeah, the reflection on this part of the video is going to be bad. But hope you guys enjoyed that little segment. There you are. Alright guys, well, time for our fifth and final tasting then here at West Coast Brewing Villa in Mochimune. So as we often do for our last videos at venues, we are going to have a look at something at the darker end of the beer spectrum. Now this one is a style that I don't believe I've tried from West Coast Brewing before. It's a style though that I do quite enjoy, and this one is supposed to be really quite nice actually, and I'm very curious to see what it's going to have in store for us. So yes, beer number 5 then is called Venti Drip. It comes in at 6% ABV, and this one is a coffee stout. So apparently the coffee beans that they've used in this one are Ethiopian Neguse Geneda Mde coffee beans, and they are roasted at Creative Coffee Studio Clear here in Shizuoka. So yeah, something that's produced, a world away and then refined quite locally. So yeah, I've noticed that more and more here in Japan. There's a lot more kind of artisanal coffee roasteries and craft beer breweries and things like that over the last few years. So it seems that this whole locally produced thing, while it was always very strong in Japan, it's kind of taking in more like modern products recently, actually, which is very interesting to see. But anyway, as you would expect, this beer's pouring. It pours a lovely kind of dark ebony rosewood colour. When it came out, it had about a half finger of a frothy, I would say, kind of fawn-coloured head. There's not much in the way of visible carbonation with this one, but you can see a few bubbles just kind of coming up and breaking the surface there. But yeah, it looks pretty much as you would expect from a coffee stout of any description, be it imperial or be it single, if you like. And yeah, I also decided with the camera this time to zoom out a little bit, because if I sit here, I can have the Hop Dude's hat on me. I can show you his beer. If I'm here, I can hide his beer from you. But there we go. So yeah, I thought this was a nice shot, but I realised earlier I was quite zoomed in, actually, on the ones that I filmed here. But anyway, yeah, so as we said, 6.5% coffee stout, this one. It looks as you would expect from this style. So let's have a wee look at the aroma of this one then, and see what it has in store for us. And yeah, I'm going to say this one smells beautiful, actually. The coffee in this one's pretty strong, actually, and this is a 6%er, so I'm used to the imperial coffee stouts, the Brazilian ones in particular. I always loved the Vietnamese, of course, do some very good imperial coffee stouts as well. But I will say the coffee in this one's pretty aromatic and pretty pungent. So coffee beans are one of my personal favourite adjuncts that you can put in a craft beer. The coffee bean is pretty much as diverse as hops can be. First off, you've got a different variety of bean. You can grow that different variety of bean in different countries, so then you've got different water profiles, different soil profiles and so on, and then your roasting process and things is all different. But apparently a big factor with coffee is the mazel, the meters above sea level at which the bean is grown. Essentially, my understanding is that the higher altitude at which you grow the coffee, the more kind of fruity and aromatic flavours and stuff you'll get out of it. And just going by the aromas we're getting off this one, the aroma's pretty impressive. So if we just focus on the coffee first, for me, this is quite an earthy and quite strong roasty coffee. It's got quite a lot of aromaticity to it for me. It's not overly fruity, actually. As I say, it's more an earthy and kind of roasty, dry coffee, this one, compared to some other ones that I've come across before. But yeah, the way it fits into this beer is really nice. And if you gave me this one blind, I'd probably guess that this beer was an imperial stout, like an RIS, with coffee added into it, because it's quite a roasty, toasty imperial stout, this one. And that's not just from the coffee. So if we actually delve deeper into the aroma, now that we've covered the coffee side of it, underneath that you can smell like a roasty, toasty, well-fired bread crusty character to this one. There's a good little bit of kind of woody character coming out of the beer too. I've definitely, there's some cracker in there, rye bread, wholemeal brown bread, a sort of chocolate spongy character coming out of this one as well. Kind of like a chocolate sponge cakey type note coming out of this one. You've got 80-90% cocoa chocolate in there, toasty brown sugars, and toasty brown sugars, and a little bit more of a kind of leathery, treacly molasses kind of thing coming out of this one. So it's kind of giving you everything that you would expect of this particular style, to be honest with you. I don't know if there's too much else to say about the malty backbone of this one, other than the fact that it gives you a wee bit of nuttiness the more that you smell of it. But to be fair, you'd kind of expect that, wouldn't you? So for me, the yeasty character in this one, for me, it's got a little bit of a kind of Scottish English Christmas puddingy kind of character to it. So it's got a wee bit of that kind of roasty, caramelised plum pudding type thing for sure. Some rye bread, more toasty, and more kind of rye bready and fruity actually. on its yeasty side of things. So yeah, the way that that goes together in this one is also very nice in my mind. Yeah, so for me, I think that covers the malty yeasty side of this beer. In terms of the hoppy side of things, it does smell as if it's got a wee bit of American hop in there because there's a fair bit of fruitiness in it. Galena, of course, is a popular hop to use in stouts like this. But the green component's got a little bit of earthiness. There's definitely a wee bit of woody character in there, some herbally notes, a little bit of floral aromaticity, and yeah, you've also got that little bit of grassy note to the beer as well. So yeah, the way that this one goes together, I think, is also very, very nice. Grassy side of it's great. Green component, I should say, is great. So yeah, the fruity side of things then, for me, the fruity side of this beer, it's got a... Yeah, the fruity side of this beer, I'd say that it's got a lovely sort of... How would you say? Yeah, it's got a lovely sort of kind of plummy character to it. I definitely get some fig in there and some blackberry. But yeah, I think plum, fig, blackberry is a good way to describe the fruity side of this one. It's a very rich beer, this. And yeah, I think it goes together really quite nicely, actually. So yeah, as I always say, take a bit of time to enjoy the aroma of your beers before you get stuck into them. But I think we should try this one now and see what we have. So yeah, this one was the Split Venti, if I remember the name correctly. Split Venti. Or Venti Drip, sorry. I just saw it right in front of me. I thought it was Venti Split. No, Venti Drip, a 6% coffee stout. Our last one here at the Villa with West Coast Brewing. Kampai. That's really nice, this one. It's a very smooth stout, actually. It's not often these days that I get to drink the lower ABV stouts. A lot of the stuff that's imported into Hong Kong is, of course, the big, heavy kind of hitters, if you like. But yeah, the way that this goes together, I think, is really, really nice. Yeah. It gives you everything you'd want from the style. It's interesting, though, because the coffee in this one isn't quite as prominent in the flavour until the aftertaste, as you might have expected to be. And it smelled like it was going to be really bold, punchy, and in your face. But it actually just blends in with everything else really well. So yeah, let's just break the flavour of this beer down then and describe it for you that wee bit more in depth. So yeah, the backbone of this beer, you've got that lovely roasty, toasty, well-fired bread crust in this one. As you move further forward on the palate, you've got a little bit of woodiness coming out of it, some Jacob's cream cracker, you get a layer of sort of rye bread out of it, some wholemeal brown bread, and then you can feel the kind of, you can feel that little bit of woodiness coming out of the beer into the aftertaste as well. So there's that little bit of woody character in there, which is great. So yeah, the rye bread, the wholemeal brown bread, the wee bit of woodiness. There's maybe a slight layer of a kind of chocolate spongy kind of character sitting on top of all of that. So as I've often said, sweeter flavours come out further forward on the palate, more dry and bitter flavours come out a bit further back. So the chocolatey character's maybe about 50-60% cocoa chocolate further forward, then it's a more 70-80% cocoa chocolate further back. So yeah, the chocolatey side of this one's great, but on top of that, you do get a layer of like kind of toasty brown sugar. Then in the dead centre of your palate, you can feel there's that little circle there. So you've got a kind of leathery brown sugar and a touch of like sweeter caramel in the middle of your palate there, and that is of course the kind of boozy part of the beer. So that goes together really nicely. If you go to the back third of your palate, then you've got a you go to the back third of your palate, you've got all the same kind of bready layers and stuff that I was talking about there, but you can feel the coffee bean kind of infused into all of those. So the coffee bean is actually turning out just as I thought it would from the aroma. So it's quite an earthy, roasty kind of coffee that comes out of this one, but at the same time, it's got quite a little bit of aromaticity to it. So it's quite floral, quite aromatic, and there is just a little touch of like a dark raisiny kind of character to it as well. And then on top of all that, you've got the yeasty side of the beer. So for me, the yeasty side of this one, at its core, it's got a really kind of big, dense, it's got a really sort of big, dense, kind of Scottish English Christmas puddingy type character to it. So yeah, as I say, big Scottish English Christmas puddingy type character. As you move further out from that, a wee bit more rye bready, and then a wee bit of a more kind of bread crusty character. And that yeasty note, along with the coffee, gives you quite a bit of roastiness and dryness into the aftertaste, which is of course exactly what you want from this style. So again, this gets a big thumbs up from me. Now, in terms of I think that covers the malty yeasty side of the beer, of course. And it has got quite a potent flavour to it for a beer that's only 6% ABV, so that's what's quite impressive about this one. If we go to the hoppy side of things, back corners of the palate, you've got a nice little bit of earthiness in there. As you move further forward, it's a wee bit more woody, and as you reach the front corners of your palate, you can feel it's a little bit more floral, then round the front curve of your tongue, there's just a wee bit of grassiness there. So yeah, hoppy character is shown out with this one. I do suspect Galena in this, to be honest with you. Front third of your palate and the fruity side of things then, just to round off the flavour. So you've got all those bready layers in there on the front third of your palate that we've talked about before. Then you get that nice oily bubble where the juicy fruity esters just roll their way out of the beer. So yeah, for me, the fruity side of this beer, it's kind of what we described in the aroma, to be honest. So yeah, the fruity side of this one, it's the fruity side of this one, I would say, it's got when you first take it in, it does have a little bit of that raisiny sharpness on top. If you go to the back half of that from the front, so it's raisins on top, big oily plums. As you reach the front of that middle third of your palate, it's figs, then into the front half of the front third of your tongue, it's black currants underneath, and then a little touch of blackberry on top. But it's quite rich, red fruity character that comes out of this one, but a very good beer, hell of a lot of flavour for such a low EBV stout actually, so I'm impressed with it. Mouthfeel wise, for me, this beer, top end to mid-bodied, smooth carbonation. I don't know if silky is the right word for this one, but it does have a little bit of that kind of typical feeling that you'd expect of it's got a wee touch of the nitro stout quality to it, but of course it's got that typical Japanese cleanliness and drinkability to it, which we like. IBU wise, I would say this one, 70, 80 IBUs, something like that. Mix of that coming from the hop, the roasty malt base, and the coffee bean, of course. But the malt base, roasty, toasty underneath, smooth in the middle, drier and sweeter on top. And then, you've got that lovely fruity character to it. So all in all, very, very nice coffee stout, this one. And I think this is a very nice way to kind of end our visit here to West Coast Brewing Villa. So I think we can leave it there. This one was the Venti Drip, 6% coffee stout. Let's leave it at that for this one. A nice way to round off this little trip, of course. I'll catch you guys in a second with something else. Alright guys, so as with any good brewery, they've got a whole bunch of cans for you to buy and take away to enjoy at home. So let's have a little look at these then and see what they have. So they have Racal Ride up here, which is like a hazy IPA, 6.5% ABV. Over here they've got the Velstar, like a session IPA, 4.5% ABV. Down here the Yellow Light, a CBD infused IPA, could be quite interesting. They've got Star Watcher CBD, which is obviously a CBD infused version of their kind of regular beer. Passion Fruit Party, session IPA with passion fruit. Then down here they've got the latest version of Full Hop Alchemist and Double Dry Hopped Super Sunrise. Both of these kind of classic beers from this brewery. This one they do quite a few versions of, but Double Dry Hop Super Sunrise is a kind of regular one. Over here they've got Westy Boys, which I don't think I've ever seen before. That's one that I haven't looked at before. Freestyle Sandbox. This one they release quite a few different versions of too. Then Warp Zone, a session IPA, Mountain Session IPA. Campfire Stories, which they're calling a Northwest IPA. It's down here, Citra Sandbox. So as I say, they've got a few different sandbox beers. Pineapple Party, Harmonic Dreams, which I believe I reviewed on the channel before. That was a really nice one, actually. Then the Red IPA, which you can get in most of the bars. Up here, they've got Mr. Dudski, which is a hazy, juicy double IPA with mango, they're calling it. Venti Drip, coffee stout. Strawberry Secret, fruited sour. Sour Girl 2. Barong Dance, which is a CBD infused Hellas. Bull Beam Express, a hazy IPA with anchovy, citra, and wakatu hops. That'll be interesting. Windows to Verteri, they do a new version of this every year, and it's always very, very popular. Then Black Light, an American pale ale with terpenes and CBD. Hot Paradise, New Zealand pale ale. Bad Boy, hazy pale ale. Scrolls Only, which is a West Coast pale ale. Dark Torrent, which is an imperial stout. That one, I think I bought that the last time I was in Japan, actually. So you'll see a review of that one quite soon. Hop and Escape, which is a hoppy pils. West Coast Brewing Light. Then they've got the big boys down here. So yeah, Yidi Yada Yidi, which is a barrel-aged imperial stout with fig, chocolate, and raisins. Winter Wish, which is another imperial stout, cranberry, ginger, cinnamon, nutmeg, anise, and cloves. That sounds like a beast. They've got the Hand of Balance, which is a barley wine. Very tempted by that. I love barley wines. There is the Rouge Funk, barrel-aged wild ale, that one, yeah? And well, these are all barrel-aged wild ales by the look of it. So basically blank and a barrel-aged sour with green, just says green unripened Japanese plums, so ume plum sour. So yeah, quite a lot of beers available here in the West Coast Brewing fridge. So yeah, that's a lot to take in, a lot of choice, but very tempted by that barley wine, I have to say. All right, guys. Well, that is the end of our time then here at West Coast Brewing Villa in Mochimune in Shizuoka here in Japan. So we had a really nice couple of hours here, and first off, I just want to give a massive shout out to the staff that looked after us. Toshio was there at the beginning. He was great, spoke very, very good English. I sat and spoke away to him in Japanese for quite a wee while, and then he just came out with English that was pretty damn good, I have to say. So that was quite funny. But then, yeah, later on we were looked after by Shohei and Shunta, both of whom were great as well. Shohei also spoke very good English, and Shunta I was able to chat away to in Japanese, which was awesome. I'm quite pleased with how my Japanese has come on over the last year or so, actually. And, you know, the Japanese are great people. If you can speak to them in their own language a bit, they open up so much, and the kind of shy exterior, if you like, goes away. So that was really cool. But as I say, massive shout out to Toshio, Shunta and Shohei for giving us a really nice time here. So during this visit we got to try 5 beers. We tried the I forget the name, the Dance, the CBD infused Hellas. That was really interesting. Actually, my first taste of a lager beer from West Coast Brewing, and I was really quite impressed with it. So that's something I do need to look at a little bit more again in the future from these guys. Their lagers seem to be pretty solid. Then we went on to the Star Watcher, the West Coast IPA, which I've had a good few times before. Really enjoyed trying that again. It's one of their kind of mainstays, I guess we could say. Then we had the Mr. Dudski, which was a collaboration with Brewski from Helsingborg back in my Swedish home county of Skåne. Really funny just to be here at the time when that beer has just been released. That one, you can tell it's going to be a good beer, but I think we got it just a little touch too fresh. Then we had the Super Strawberry Secret, which was really good. That one, I think, was just like strawberry drinking yogurt, actually. It was quite interesting to try. Again, another first for me, because I've never tried a smoothie sour from West Coast Brewing. And then we rounded off with the Venti Drip, if I remember the name correctly, which was the coffee stout, and that one was absolutely great. So yeah, potentially that one was the pick of the bunch of the beers, actually, the coffee stout. You know, for a 6%er, it had a hell of a lot of flavour to it. But yeah, the quality of all 5 of the beers that we tried was great. Now, when it comes to the food in Villa, I actually thought that there was going to be a mix of like burgers and gyoza and things like this, because I think most people would know West Coast Brewing for having really awesome burgers. I mean, I tried that in the Dark Lab in Osaka, and I know that 12, the original izakaya, is known for its burgers as well. And then they've got the Pao, which is the gyoza restaurant. One thing I would say is that potentially, when this is their kind of home venue, if you like, they need to do all of the different foods here. The food that we had was very, very nice. The mac and cheese and the chicken and chips, all of it was very, very good. But it did leave me kind of craving some of the West Coast Brewing burgers and a little bit of the gyoza. So I would say to them, like, maybe think about, when it's your home bar, make the menu just a little bit bigger. And I will say too, the menu did actually change at different times during the day. I couldn't show you the menu in this video, unfortunately, because it was one of these digital ones, and there was no way to kind of get it up and sort of film it without just filming off another phone, which isn't very good for the video. But yeah, that's another thing. But yeah, the mac and cheese was great. Really enjoyed that. The chicken was great. The chili mayo that came with it was awesome, actually. Really, really impressed with that. And the sort of little fried potatoes that we had were also good. So really impressed with the quality of food, I have to say that. But I would say to them, bring the burgers and the gyoza here as well, since this is your home bar. But in the evening, they had things like deer and stew and a couple of other things. So yeah, good quality food available here. But yeah, I think burgers, and when you have craft beer, burgers and gyoza, you can never go wrong with. That's one of the things. But yeah, had a great time here. Really nice to come and visit one of my favourite Japanese craft breweries. I think we'll add a wee segment on to the end of this video. We'll go to 12 and we'll go to Bao as well. So I'll catch you guys in a wee second with our visit there. Cheers. Right guys, so as promised, we are going to have a little look at 12, which is the original izakaya bar and restaurant that Derek opened up before West Coast Brewing really started. So yeah, let's go in and have a little look and try some of the food and maybe have a beer. Here we go. Alright guys, so just a very little quick look at the exterior of 12 there. You can see over on the left there, West Coast Brewing 12, and yeah, basically if you go left down here, you'll reach Shizuoka Central Station. You can see the big door there, and there's the other end of the street. So there's a lot of people, so I don't really want to go in and kind of put cameras in their faces, but yeah, we'll see how we go. But yeah, West Coast Brewing 12, here we are, pretty awesome. Alright guys, so yeah, just a little quick look at the tap list for you here at 12. A lot more beers here on than were at the Villa, so a few different ones. Hop and Escape, the IPL, Beyond the First, Citrus Centennial, Peninsula as well. Blanche du Paradis, which is a Dieu de Seal beer. Scrolls Only on tap as well, which they had in can. I think Black Light, I think, was can only at Villa as well. Passion Fruit Party wasn't there too. Lipanesco Sour, Sour Girl 2 I don't think was on tap either. A couple of the sour beers down there as well. And then the other one they have up there, they've got Hand of Balance on tap, which would be really interesting. In the Gateway Imperial Stout and Stoebe from Vertere. Voyager de Brume, another Dieu de Seal. And then the Venti Drip that we had before. So a much bigger tap list here at Venti. So yeah, interesting stuff. Alright guys, so as I said, after finishing at the Villa, I was still hungry for burgers. So we came to 12. Let's have a little look at the menu that they've got here then. So yeah, here we go. So it seems to be kind of comfort food actually, if you like. So we've got some Tex-Mex up here, some different kinds of tacos, chipotle chicken, barbecue smoked pork, beef tacos, smoked salmon tacos as well. Definitely catering for the Japanese palate there, I would say. Different quesadillas, fajita, smoked salmon, birria with dipping sauce and jalapeno as well. Over here, you've got some chips and dips, chip and guacamole, chips and salsa, nachos down here as well, wet nachos, chili con carne nachos as well. Yeah, different kinds of salads, Caesar salad, Mexican salad. Remember, 1,000 yen is about £5 sterling, €5.50, and about $6 American. But yeah, here we go, the bathed in oil group. You got your French fries, Japanese style wings and Cajun sauce, popcorn shrimp, deep fried paradise. Don't know what that is actually. I'm guessing it's just a mix of different things. Nuggets and onion rings, fish and chips. You've got some loaded fries down here, beef and salsa, vanilla and cinnamon as well. And you can order your beef steak, which I have to say does look pretty nice actually. Quite tempting. Over here you've got your beer kickstarters, so you've got your pickled egg, your boiled edamame, olives and cheese, mixed nuts, and the smoked group as well, so you can get some sausage, some smoked potato salad, a few sweets and stuff down there. But this is the one that we came for. This is what we want. So, yeah. Up here you've got your different kinds of burgers: smash, double smash, triple smash, jalapeno poppers, cheeseburger, double cheese, triple cheese, bacon pepper, avocado cheese, double cheese and bacon. You can add a few different toppings and things to it as well. Then the sandwiches up here: crispy chicken, cheese and pulled pork, avocado cheese and pulled pork, bacon cheese and pulled pork, and also the deep fried fish. And you can do a party plan as well actually, which is kind of cool. So yeah, very good menu here at 12. So yeah, there you are. Awesome stuff once again from West Coast Brewing. So yeah, you'll see some food a little bit later on in the video. Let's leave it there. Right guys, so while we're waiting for the burgers to appear, I thought we would do another tasting because there's a beer on the menu here that I wanted to try earlier, but unfortunately down at the villa they had run out of it, so here we are now. So this beer is Citra Sandbox Volume 1. Comes in at 8.5% ABV, and it's another New England Hazy Imperial Double, whatever you want to call it, IPA. Now, maybe about 2 years ago, I tried the Freestyle Sandbox. So I think basically they've got a base recipe with this beer that they call Sandbox, and they're changing the hops up and releasing different versions of it each time. So yeah, pretty cool anyway. But yeah, as you can see and as you would expect, this beer's poured a lovely kind of bright yellow mango juice colour. The head on it was about 2/3 of a finger, frothy kind of cream coloured head when it came out, and that faded away to just be a nice kind of thin foamy layer there. But you've got that ring around the edge of the glass and just that foamy layer kind of sitting on top there. As you can see with this one, it's pretty damn opaque. Remember, in a New England IPA, the level of haze in these beers depends on the oak content, wheat content, and to a degree what yeast you use. But yeah, this is one of the soupier and gloopier ones that I've seen in recent times, and as I say, I've tried this beer before. I can't really remember Freestyle Sandbox all that well, but quite cool to try the Citra version of this one actually. But yeah, appearance wise, nothing surprising about this one when you consider what style it actually is. So yeah, let's have a little look at the nose on this one then and see what we get. Oh yeah, straight away, lovely big juicy note out of this one. I wonder if there's a little bit of cryo or something being used in here, because the green component of this beer is very smooth, but it gives you everything you want from this style. You've got lovely big juicy fruity notes coming out of this one. You've got that nice kind of creamy malt base that you expect, and a kind of big green component coming out of it. So yeah, it gives you everything that you want from the New England style. And this is a style, as I say, that we know West Coast Brewing can do very, very well. But yeah, overall I would say this one's a little bit more of an oaty leaning New England, but you do get a little bit of the barley malt and a little bit of the wheat coming out of it the more that you smell of it too. So yeah, it's pretty nice. Yeah, it's kind of got whatever you want. But yeah, aroma-wise, backbone of the beer, fresh white bready bread crust, a little bit of wood, a little bit of cracker. There's a teeny little bit of like a brown bready character to this one, a little bit of sweetness, of course. But yeah, on top of that, you've got that lovely fresh German white bready character. We know that you like to use Weirmann malt in their beers here, so you've got that lovely fresh kind of crisp German malt coming out of this one, that white bready character. There's a wee bit of wheaty note in the back of the nose. You can smell a smoother wheaty character out of it further forward. And then yeah, there's lovely oaty creamy notes to the beer. It smells very, very fresh, of course, which it's going to do when it's on tap. So yeah, lovely little bit of... There's a tiny little bit of that Werther's Original butter candy butterscotchy character out of this one, but this beer is not... it really is not sweet, we can safely say that. So yeah, as I say, lovely little bit of Werther's Original butter candy butterscotch, but fairly minimal. wee bit of McVitie's digestive biscuit. Then at the back of the nose, you've got that yeasty character coming out of this one. So yeah, it's got the yeasty character's got a little bit of brown bready character to it. Fresh fluffy white bread, a little bit of a more kind of bread crusty note in there as well. So yeah, the way that goes together in this one, I think, is pretty nice. Malty yeasty side of the beer is great. So hoppy side of things, then, it's kind of what you'd expect. As I say, I suspect there's a bit of cryo in this one because of just how smooth the green component is, but there's a teeny little bit of earthiness. Lovely bright floral aromaticity, but mostly it's a kind of wet, leafy, sort of grassy character that's coming out of this one. So yeah, the way that this beer goes together, I think, is really nice on the green component as well. Fruity side of things, it's exactly as you would expect of Citra. Massive, big, juicy mango notes. There's a wee bit of passion fruit in there, apricot, pineapple, all these big tropically notes. And I think, yeah, beyond that, there's just a little touch of a kind of lemon-limey character mixing in with all these kind of grassy esters that are coming out of it too. So all in all, aroma on this one is exactly what you would expect. So yeah, let's leave it at that for the aroma section. Let's have a taste of this one then. So yeah, this is the Citra Sandbox Volume 1, 8.5% New England Double IPA. We're drinking one here at 12, which is the original West Coast Brewing place. This is where Derek's kind of commercial beer journey began. So there we go, Kampai. Yeah, I'm going to say straight away, that's very, very nice. Definitely one of the more oaty and creamy leaning New Englands that I remember from West Coast. And West Coast can really show you different, different kind of, how would you say, different angles on this style, if you like, different perspectives of the New England style. And this one is definitely on that more oaty end of the spectrum for sure. But it's great. It goes together really, really nicely. Big thumbs up to West Coast Brewing. This is the one that I hope Mr. Dudski will evolve into a little bit later. So yeah, this is great. So let's break it down for you. So yeah, backbone of the beer. Lovely little bit. Fresh white bready bread crust in there. Further forward on the palate, you've got a wee touch of like woody note coming out of this one. Some Jacob's cream cracker, of course. And there's a wee touch of like slightly sweet, buttery wholemeal brown bread that kind of lingers into the aftertaste of this beer. With this beer, this one does give you a little touch of sweetness into the aftertaste in the base, that's for sure. So yeah, the way this one goes together, I have to say, is very, very nice and gets a big thumbs up from me. Yeah. On that note, then, I think on top of the brown bready character, you get the fluffy, fresh white bready note out of this one. Really reminds me of the German bakeries. I miss them a lot. Then the next layer up, you've got the more dense, wheaty white bread out of this one. It's a bit smoother further forward, but a little bit more kind of bitey further back, of course. Remember, sweeter flavours come out further forward, more dry and bitter flavours come out further back. And then, yeah, on top of that, you've got the oaty notes coming out of the beer. So down the middle line of your palate, lovely creamy oaty character. Out toward the edges of your palate, it's just got a little bit more dry character. It's very, very fresh, of course, so it's really nice and smooth and creamy. In the dead centre of your palate, you've got that little bit of Werther's Original Butter Candy Butterscotch and some McVitie's Digestive Biscuit in there. And yeah, that's great in this one. So, yeah. I think that's everything we need to say about the malty side of the beer. The yeasty side of this beer at the back of your palate, it's yeah, it's got a little bit more of a kind of brown bready character at the core. Then as you move further out from that, it's a wee bit more kind of white bready, I would say. Then yeah, the very edge of it's a little bit like a kind of floury, fresh bready bread crust. So yeah, way that goes together again is very nice. Green component in this beer. Back corners of the palate, you've got a lovely little bit of earthiness in there. As you move further forward, it's got a wee bit more of a woody, there's a wee bit of a woody herbally sort of thing going on. Very slight bit of dankness there, but then yeah, as you reach the front corners of your palate, some more floral aromaticity, very slightly spicy. Then round the front curve of your tongue, it's a little bit lighter and more grassy, if you like. So yeah, a wee bit zesty into the aftertaste actually. But yeah, let's have a wee look at the fruity side of things on the front third of your palate just to round off. So yeah, fruity side of this beer for me, I would say that the fruity side of this one, it's kind of what you'd expect if you know Citra, to be honest with you. On that front 30 palate, you've got all the bready layers you would think about, with the hop, of course. You go further back, you've got a little touch of sharper peach on top, big juicy mango coming out of this one, of course. Then underneath that, you get the softer passion fruit. As you move further forward to the middle of that front third of your palate, yeah, you've got a wee bit of, you've got a little bit of, I would say apricot underneath, pineapple on top. Then going further forward from that, you do get a little bit of a kind of lemon limey sort of character coming out of the beer. So yeah, the way that all of that goes together in this one, I think, is very nice. I keep saying that, but this is a really nicely done New England double. We can only say positive things about this one. So yeah, let's round off the tasting then. Mouthfeel wise, yeah, mouthfeel wise, I would say this beer, it's kind of top end of mid-bodied. Carbonation's very smooth. It's got a lovely sort of silky, creamy mouthfeel to it, and it has that typical Japanese cleanliness to it. I've always talked about the water quality in Japan. This one definitely gives you that little bit of kind of cleanliness for sure. Lovely stuff. In terms of the IBUs, I think this one's a fairly standard 25, maybe 30. With this one, the green component's very smooth. There is a little touch of bitterness there into the aftertaste, but really not a lot. Malt base is drier underneath, smoother in the middle, kind of more creamy on top, very slightly sweet. Then yeah, you've got that big, lovely, juicy, tropical, fruity note out of this one. So yeah, this one, very good beer. The Citra Sandbox Volume 1. I think probably our only tasting that we'll do at 12. So there we are. Let's leave it at that for this one. The food will be coming out in just a wee second. Cheers. Alright guys, so yeah, needed to have some food. I was still hungry after visiting the villa. So yeah, Amanda wanted some guacamole and chips, so we got that. We got some good old fries, some edamame, which I'm never going to eat. And then yeah, we've got this masterpiece of a burger. So I wanted to try both the pulled pork and the beef. So yeah, this is pulled pork, cheese, bacon and beef. Yeah, let's do this. This is going to be awesome. Right guys, so let's have a little look at the food then, because starving Marvin, here we go. So the fries on their own first. Let's just see what they're like. So nicely cooked, a little bit seasoned in salt. Oh yeah, those are good. Crispy on the outside, soft on the inside. Bit of seasoning with salt. Can't ask for anything more than that. Simple, easy. That's it. A little bit of ketchup on them. Yeah. It works. It's really nice. Right. So, the burger. Let me show you this then so you can actually see it. So as I say, I wanted to try both the pulled pork and the beef. So there you go. Look at that. Looks awesome. Some of the pulled pork hanging out of the sandwich, of course. But there we are. I thought they would have put the beef on the bottom, in fairness, but whatever. It's all good. Yeah, let's have a wee look at this. See what the pulled pork's like on its own first, because we've got an excess of that. Oh yeah. It's really nice. It's juicy enough. It's got the sweetness that you want. Consistency's there. Yeah. It's just lovely. Can't ask for much more than that. I'm trying to remember if this is the first time I've eaten pulled pork in Japan. From memory, Okinawa is where pork is very famous. Okinawa black pork, especially you get Okinawa black pork ramen, from what I remember. It's pretty awesome. So, yeah, but I think it's definitely the first time I'm trying some Japanese pulled pork, and pretty impressed. But as they say in Japan, itokodori, take things in, refine them, make them better. That tends to be how it goes. So yeah, let's try the whole burger together then and see what we've got. Yeah, it works. I think I'm going to turn it upside down though, because I don't know, to my palate that makes a bit more sense. You put the beef on the bottom, bacon and cheese, and then the pulled pork. That for me works a little bit better. But you can see there, the meat's just got that little bit of redness in the middle, which is what you want to give you that extra flavour. So yeah, let's take a bite of it the other way around and see what we get. Yeah. That way round is much better. Yeah. Having the beef on the bottom just gives you that more kind of saltiness, if you like. And having the bacon on top, the pulled pork, the cheese, I just think that direction of flavour just suits it much better. But really nice in that sense. Yeah. Yeah. So the burger is really nice and juicy, lovely and tender. The bacon that they've got on here has a nice little bit of smokiness and saltiness to it. So it's a little bit unique in that sense. I've not had too much in the way of Japanese bacon. The cheese is kind of melted away into everything. Then, of course, the pulled pork sitting on top of it. That's a lovely burger, of course. This was a kind of custom-made one because I wanted to try a bit of everything. But, yeah, it's really nice. So the pulled pork's great. The beef is great. Yeah, give the burgers here a go and just see what you think. I'm going to go away now and enjoy the rest of this. And I'll give you my final thoughts on 12 in a wee second. Cheers. All right, just a little very quick look at the merchandise as well. You can see the mats here are a little bit different, but they do have the original cork coasters as well. But yeah, some of the glasses available here. But yeah, really nice little space there. The merch and the cans up there, and then the Mount Fuji and other things. And yeah, this is where we've been sitting. So yeah, just finished the food at the time of filming that. There you go. Right guys, so there you are. A very quick visit to 12, the original restaurant bar of West Coast Brewing. I have to say the burgers were awesome. Big thank you to the guys in there for making me that kind of custom burger that I ordered. Food was great. Very impressive tap list actually. The tap list there was quite a bit bigger than at the Villa, which I was surprised at, to be honest with you. But yeah, since we've done 2 out of 3, let's go on and have a little look at Bao. So see you guys in just a second. Alright guys, well as promised, let's round off our little West Coast Brewing Shizuoka venues documentary, I guess it's turning into at this point, with a visit here. So this is a little bit different from what I was expecting. I was expecting a kind of small, sort of Japanese style place. This is home to Pao, the gyoza restaurant, but it's actually a little bit different. So this venue seems to be called Hito/The Yard, and it's quite multifaceted. So yeah, let's go in and I'll show you around on this one. This is pretty interesting actually. Alright guys, so yeah, this is the exterior of Hito/The Yard. So yeah, you can see over there's the West Coast Brewing symbols. And yeah, basically when you go in on the left, you've got the beer bar. On the right, you've got Pao, which is the kind of gyoza part. And when you go further back, there's a cocktail section. And then at the very back, there is the kind of tempura section of it. So basically you can buy your beers and order different kinds of food and you can sit in, but it's really quite cool. So yeah, there's just a little view of the street we're on. We're actually again very, very close to the centre, so I'll just do a wee walk in and let you guys see what it actually looks like, but obviously we don't want to disturb too many people, of course. So yeah, let's just do this. This door is a little bit awkward, so let's go. Yeah. we go. So yeah, you can see bar there, gyoza over there. If we go further forward, you can see, cocktail section, tempura, and then we've been sitting just over here. So there is Miss Amanda chilling on her phone. So yeah, ready? Yes. All right, guys. Well, just a little quick look at the tap list then that they have here at the yard, I guess. So yeah, just a couple of beers on tap. They've got the Bull Beam Express. They have the Barong Dance, the CBD infused Hellas. They have the Mr. Dudski, the collaboration with Brewski, and then the last one is the Venti Drip, which is the coffee stout. So yeah, just a couple of beers on tap here, but they do have quite a few of the cans that you can take away, of course. So yeah, very quick little thing for you there. Alright guys, so while we wait for our gyoza, let's do a little bit of a beer tasting. So at the beer part of the venue, they've only got a couple of beers on tap, as I showed you a second ago. So we went for the one that we haven't tried yet actually. So this beer is called Bull Beam Express, 7% ABV, hazy IPA this one. And a few things about this beer. It's a collaboration with Denki Groove, who West Coast Brewing have collaborated with before. It's a two-man band, basically. The hops in this one are Citra, Anchovy, and Wakatu. We know all of these hops quite well. Citra, American, 14% alpha acid, big sort of mango-y character, a little bit of lemon lime. And hazy IPA, then Wakatu is a New Zealand hop, maybe about 6% alpha acid, gives you quite a bit of piney character and quite a little bit of lime as well from what I remember. And then Anchovy is one that I've only encountered a couple of times. It's about 12% alpha acid, American as well, and it gives you a little bit of like a kind of watermelony type quality from what I can remember. And then when I checked up on it before, it said sometimes you'll get raspberry. So yeah, we'll need to see. But anyway, as you can see, this beer, it's not the most super hazy of beers that you're going to come across. It looks a little bit more like, they described it to me as a mountain IPA, so like I guess you could say a Colorado IPA, somewhere between the West Coast and the New England IPAs. When it came out, it had a nice half finger of a frothy, cream-coloured head. That, of course, has faded away a little bit. But yeah, you can see good little bit of visible carbonation in this one. It looks pretty nice, and as I say, this is the only one on the menu that they have here that we haven't tried so far actually. Through going to Villa and 12, we actually tried quite a lot of the beers that they have available on tap. So anyway, but yeah, nothing untoward about the appearance of this one other than that it's not quite as hazy as you might expect. As I said, more a mountain IPA is what the guy told me. So yeah, let's have a wee look at the nose of this one and see what we get. Oh yeah, okay, so I'm going to say straight away, it comes across as being quite a barley malt leaning beer, which would make sense. That would make sense as to why it's not overly hazy. They've maybe just put a little bit of oat or a little bit of wheat in this one rather than going full out as you would normally do with a New England IPA. So yeah, this one would be, let's just say, this one would be sort of, how would we say, this one would be kind of, it's got a little bit more, as I say, a bit more barley malt leaning. So the backbone of the beer, fresh white bready bread crust, a little bit of Jacob's cream cracker to it. You've got a little bit of woody note in there as well. Some kind of brown bready notes also. Lots of fresh fluffy white bread in there, and it's quite crisp. I know these guys like to use Weirmann malt from Germany, so you can smell that lovely crisp character to it. There's a wee bit of Pilsner malty note as well, and then there's a wee bit of the Pilsner malty note to it as well, and then there's a little touch of sweetness to this one, maybe a little bit of like Werther's Original Butter Candy Butterscotch, a little bit of McVitie's Digestive Biscuit as well. Yeah, not too much sweetness to it, but it's definitely detectable. The yeasty side of the beer at the back of the nose for me, mostly white bready, but you do get a little bit of like a kind of wholemeal brown bready character out of this one. There's also a good little bit of, there's also a good little bit of kind of white bready bread crust to it as well. So yeah, a wee bit of brown bread, mostly white bready though, and a wee bit of like that kind of floury bread crust that you sometimes get from these things as well. In terms of the green component of the beer then, let's go to the hoppy side of things. as I say, the malty side of this one really is more kind of crisp and barley malt leaning. The hoppy side of this beer, it's got a little touch of earthiness to it, but not overly much. Quite minimal, to be honest. A little bit woody, a little bit herbal as well. Nice bright floral aromaticity, but mostly your green component is quite grassy in this one, I would say. So quite bright. It's like wet, freshly cut grass, actually, is what I'm getting out of this one. So, yeah. The aroma in this beer is quite, what do you say? Yeah, the aroma in this beer is quite, I would say, the fruity side of it is quite soft, actually. So yeah, lovely kind of soft, lovely kind of soft tropical fruit there, like a little bit, mostly kind of, I'm getting quite a lot of apricot out of this one. Nice juicy mango as well. I'm getting some of the lime, and you can smell a wee bit of the watermelon in there as well. So yeah, this beer, it's actually quite mild-mannered in its aroma. You have to really kind of search for these things, to be honest with you. This one, mostly just a little bit fruity, grassy, and then a little bit of kind of bready backbone to it. I think we're going to get a lot more out of the flavour of this one than we will out of the aroma, and it's probably about time that we try this. So yeah, this one is the Bull Beam Express, 7% Mountain IPA they're calling it, but it does say on the menu that it's a hazy IPA. Let's see what this one's all about. Kampai. Yeah, that's pretty nice, actually. Quite an easy-going beer, this one, I would say. It's quite, in a lot of ways, it actually reminds me of a nice German Helles. We tried the, what was it called? The Barong Dance the other day. The malt base in this one really reminds me of that, actually. Lovely, crisp, bready character. Just a wee bit of sweetness. And it's got quite a little bit of yeasty character to it, this one as well. So this is really different to the other IPAs that we've had from West Coast Brewing during this trip, and also compared to anything else I've had from them. So yeah, really quite unique, in fact. So thumbs up to West Coast Brewing for doing something a wee bit different with this, but this is really, really nice. But it's going to go down very, very easily, I can tell you that right away. So yeah, let's break down the flavour of this one then and describe it for you more in depth. So yeah, the backbone of the beer, you've got that lovely, fresh, white bready bread crust in this one, just forming the backbone of the beer. As you move further forward in the middle third of your palate, you've got a little touch of woody character there, some Jacob's cream cracker sitting on top of it. Then you get a slight layer of a more wholemeal, brown bready kind of character, and then above that, you can feel the fluffier, fresh, white bready note out of this one. And that's, of course, the largest component of your malt base in here. So yeah, lovely, fresh, fluffy white bread in there. It is a little bit crisper further back on the palate. I do suspect there's some kind of Pilsner malt in here. Maybe like a little touch of Carapils or something like that. But yeah, lovely, fresh, fluffy white bready character in there. It's got that bit of dryness to it because it is European malt. As I've often said, American malt's a little bit more dense and a little bit sweeter. But you've got that lovely, crisp, white bready character in there. Then above that, you start to get the kind of sweeter side of the beer. So it's quite straightforward in this one. At the dead centre of your palate, you've got a little circle there where you get this kind of like slightly fudgy sort of flavour. Maybe Werther's Original Butter Candy Butterscotch, maybe a little bit of honey. It's just like kind of straight up brown sugary sort of thing. And the edge of that circle, it gives you a little bit of, more of a kind of McVitie's digestive biscuity sort of thing to it. So yeah, the way that all goes together in this one, I think, is also very, very nice. So yeah, it's good stuff. I have to say that about that. I like it. So yeah. So that covers the malt base on this one. So if you go to the back third of your palate, you've got all those malty layers that we just talked about. And of course, you get a little bit more of the Pilsner malt, and the bready character is a little bit drier. But on top of everything else, you get the yeasty side of the beer. And the yeast in this one is actually quite prominent, I would say. So yeah, yeasty side of this one for me, it's, what would you say? The yeasty side of this one for me, it's kind of brown bready at its core. As you move further out from it, it's got a soft white bready note to it. Then yeah, the very edge of it's a little bit more kind of like crisp, white bready bread crust. So yeah, the way that all of that pieces together in this one, I think, is really quite nice. So yeah, yeasty character gives the beer a wee bit of dryness into the aftertaste, and again, it feels like quite a barley malt leaning IPA, this one, but very different to what I've had from West Coast Brewing in the past, so gets a thumbs up from me. Hoppy side of things then, green component. The green component of this one for me, yeah. Back corners of the palate, you've got a really nice little bit of earthy character in there. Again, it's very, very minimal. As you come further forward, it's a little bit more woody and sort of herbal, in all honesty. So yeah, lovely little bit of woody, herbal sort of thing. Then as you push further forward from that, it gets progressively more sort of floral and aromatic. Then around the front curve of your tongue, it's just a little bit lighter and more sort of grassy, I would say. And I think, yeah, it really leans more toward the grassy sort of thing. You do get a wee bit of that piney resin coming out of this one, which I forget, was that from, I think it was anchovy you're supposed to get that from. So, yeah. The way that that goes together in this one, I think, is quite nice. The green component just has that little touch of bitterness to it, but mostly it's just got a really nice balance with the malty side of the beer. So yeah, let's have a little look at the fruity side of thing then, just to round off the flavour part of it. So yeah, front third of your palate, you've got that lovely kind of oily bubble there, where the fruity, juicy esters come out of the beer. So let's have a focus on that. And yeah, you go to the back of that front third of your palate, the back half, it's all about the citrus. You've got the juicy mango on top, you've got a little bit of softer passion fruit underneath, apricot further forward, wee bit of pineapple in there. But then, yeah, the front half of that front third of your tongue, it's really quite limey, which is your wakatu coming out. So you get a lot of that limey character in there. But into the aftertaste, you get that sort of candied watermelon sort of thing coming out of this one. But yeah, the lime kind of lingers there for quite a wee bit, and yeah, the grassy floral notes and the lime really linger into the aftertaste with this one. But yeah, mango from the citra, a bit of passion fruit, bit of apricot, wee bit of pineapple, and then yeah, watermelon sitting on top of it, that juicy watermelon from the anchovy there. Then yeah, you've got the limey character from the wakatu just sitting underneath. So yeah, the way that goes together, I think, is really nice in this one. Yeah, to round off then, mouthfeel wise. Yeah, so mouthfeel wise for me, this beer, it's kind of mid-bodied. It's right in the middle of the spectrum, maybe lower end of mid-bodied. Carbonation's got a nice crispness to it, very, very clean. As I say, very, very light. And then, yeah, clean, light, crisp, I think is a good way to describe it. The IBU in this beer is maybe about 40-ish, maybe 50 at the most. It does give you a little bit of bitterness into the aftertaste. The malt base is a bit drier underneath, smoother in the middle, very slightly sweet on top. Then yeah, you've got that lovely little bit of fruity character out of it. So yeah, really nice beer, this one. Quite different to what we've had in other places. So yeah, I think we can leave it at that for this one. So yeah, this was the Bull Beam Express 7% ABV, a mountain IPA, and probably our last beer tasting in this video. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in a second with some of the gyoza. Let's go. Alright guys, so our food arrived. Amanda's came a little bit earlier. She got some veggie tempura and a little salad. She was very hungry, so she went for it. Really don't blame her. But yeah, this was the little bit I was interested in. So we've got 3 types of gyoza here. The one in the middle is the regular gyoza, the kind of pork and sort of garlicky chive type one. Then on the left here, we've got curry gyoza, which I'm very curious about. Then the ones on the right are the Mexican gyoza, which are based on tacos. And yeah, you've got 3 sauces to use here. So the red one is soy sauce, the green one is hot sauce, and then the yellow one is like vinegar, sour sauce. So yeah, we'll need to see how we get on with these. I guess we'll try them naked first, and then we'll try them with the different sauces. But yeah, lovely looking gyoza, I have to say. Right guys, well, let's have a look at these gyoza. As I say, been looking forward to these for quite some time. So we'll go with the regular gyoza first, because that's just kind of what you do. I think the best order will be regular curry and then Mexican, because the Mexican one's probably going to have a little bit of spice to it, I would think. So yeah, as you do with beer, you kind of work up to the more intense flavours. But yeah, there you go. Here's our regular one. Let's try it naked and see what it's like. Oh yeah, right. Just on its own, very, very juicy, lovely pork. Quite subtle on its garlic side actually, and quite a little bit of chive and stuff coming out of this one. And I mean, just look at the inside of that. That looks lovely. I'm dripping on the table. Need to be careful. But yeah, looks absolutely lovely, this one. What I've done with the sauce is I've mixed a little bit of vinegar and a little bit of soy sauce together, about 50-50 roughly. Of course, we can't be empirical in these videos. Could in the lab, but yeah, I like a kind of soy and vinegar mix. So let's try it with that and see what we get. See the regular one, but on its own, it is really, really nice. You can tell it's very good quality. So yeah. Oh yeah. With the with the vinegar, the soy sauce and vinegar, it's really nice. Like when it seeps in, just gives you that little bit of zing and stuff. Let me just try the sauce on its own. Yeah, I think I've got the balance of the sauce quite nice. To be honest, it's just got that little bit of zing, but then it's got the kind of umami of the soy sauce in the background. So the balance of the sauce is quite nice. The spicy one, I'm not really going to bother with. It's just, I like a little bit of spice, but it's not overly my thing. So yeah, let's have a little look at the curry one now. So as you can see, this one's got a wee bit more kind of colour to it. Let's just take a taste of it naked and see what we've got. Okay, right. It's quite interesting. The curry's just quite subtle. Oh, dropped it. There we go. The curry's just quite subtle there, but again, the flavour of this is really nice. It seems like it's got quite a lot of garlic and it's pork obviously as well, but the curry flavour in this is really just quite subtle. So let's give it a wee dip in the sauce and just see what we get with that. Oh yeah. On its own, it's great. You put the sauce in it. The curry and the sauce in this one really balance each other out really, really well. So the curry kind of sits on top, and then like on the sides of your palate, the mix of the vinegar and soy sauce just comes out really nicely, and in the aftertaste, it kind of stays like that. So yeah, really interesting. So let's have a wee look at the last one then, the Mexican one, and this is what I'm very curious about. So there you are. It's got this kind of powder on it. Not sure exactly what the powder is. Let's see. Not really sure what that is actually. But yeah, let's have a taste of it and just see. Okay, right. This one to me, it's got a little bit of bite to it, a little bit of hotness on the back end, but not overly much. I don't find this overly spicy, but yeah, it does have a wee bit of hotness just in the back of your throat there. Whether that's from the powder or the meat inside, I'm really not sure, but yeah, you can see inside this one. Looks really, really nice again. On its own, yeah, you've got that lovely sort of sweet Mexican beef kind of note to it, that sweet taco beef sort of thing. Again, really, really like it. Let's try it with the mix of the soy and vinegar sauce and just see. Very Western take on gyoza, this actually, which is kind of interesting. Or, yeah. Again, that works. The taco one, the taco one is really nice to see. You get a bit more spice out of that, for sure, definitely. I feel the spice is actually pushed even more if you mix it with that sauce that I've made up there. You do get a little bit more heat out of it. So that's really interesting. So yeah, if I had to pick out of them, I think potentially my favourite is on its own. I think my favourite one probably would be, it's between the taco ones for me. The Mexican ones are nice, but given the choice, I would probably do the regular or the curry. I think those two stand out a wee bit more to me. The regular ones, as I say, the quality of these gyoza is absolutely great. But yeah, it would have to be the regular one or the curry one for me. So yeah, really good gyoza. We've tried 3 out of the 4 or 5 varieties that there were. And I have to say, I'm quite impressed. So I think we can leave it at that. They do have karaage on the menu, so you might see me have a look at that a wee bit later on. So yeah, we'll see what we do next, but I'll catch you guys in just a second. Cheers. Alright guys, well that is the end of our time then here at POW slash Hito slash Into the Yard, whatever I'm actually meant to call this particular venue. But yeah, we spent about 2 hours here. We just had a beer each and tried some of the different foods. And it was really nice actually, very chilled out venue. As always with the West Coast Brewing venues, very, very nice staff. Special shout out to Shunsuke in this one, who sat and chatted away to us quite a little bit, even though he struggled with the English a little bit. But yeah, he helped Amanda a lot in particular with her kind of vegetarian needs and things. But yeah, the gyoza were awesome, I have to say. So yeah, this one is definitely worth a visit as well. But yeah, great to come and check out the third and final West Coast Brewing venue here in Shizuoka. I'll round off the video with my final thoughts on all three, and I'll catch you for that in just a little second. Cheers. Alright guys, well that is me back in the hotel, warmed up, happy and satisfied, so I think it's time to do a little bit of reflection on our visits to the three West Coast Brewing venues here in Shizuoka City in Japan. So yeah, I'll say straight away, I enjoyed going to see all three of them. Going out to the villa in Mochimune and actually seeing Mochimune for the first time was awesome, because I'd talked about it so much on the channel, somewhere that I always wanted to go. The coastline was really pretty, going and standing in the Mochimune Marina was really cool. Yeah, it was great to kind of finally pop that cherry, if you like. The villa as a venue was really nice. The building was very, very well designed, one of Derek's designs, of course. And yeah, hopefully we can stay in the hotel at some point when the weather is a little bit better. I can imagine that would be very, very nice. The rooms, of course, up there are named after different hops, and you get the 10 litres of beer to enjoy during your stay, which is both tempting and dangerous, I guess we could say. But yeah, all in all, with the villa, the staff were awesome. Toshio, Shohei and Shunta looked after us very, very well. There was the lady there and I didn't catch her name, unfortunately. But yeah, they were all really, really nice. The only thing I would say about the villa when we were there is the tap list wasn't too extensive, actually. And the other thing was the food as well. For me, the kind of signature food of West Coast Brewing is the burger. So I would say to them, they should probably introduce the burger there and maybe do some of the gyoza as well, because both of those are great. The food that they did have there was really nice. Nothing to complain about, of course, but just, as I say, for me, the signature food of West Coast Brewing is the burger. So, you know, at your home bar, I think that is something that they should have. After that, of course, we went to 12. And the French guy that looked after us there was awesome as well. I didn't catch his name, unfortunately, but it's a recurring theme with the West Coast Brewing bars that their staff are awesome. So yeah, I hope that message gets through to them. But yeah, I really liked the 12 venue, actually. For me, out of the three venues, that was probably my kind of pick of the bunch, if you like. I really liked the vibe there. They had the best tap list out of the three venues as well. And of course, the food menu, I think, just suits the beer really well, and it feels like the kind of West Coast Brewing signature menu, if you like, having the kind of the different meats and the burgers and stuff like that. I think that's just very, very good beer food, if you like. So yeah, 12 for me was the pick of the bunch. Yeah, then of course we went to Hito, the Yard, POW. I'm not sure exactly what to call that venue, but it was really nice as well, actually. It was a kind of blend of different things. That's your more kind of Asian sort of food venue there. They had the tempura, the Japanese tempura, and then they had the different dumplings, which were very, very good and really quite interesting. So yeah, and Shunsuke that looked after us there as well was great. As I say, the West Coast Brewing staff are awesome, and I hope that message is one that gets back to them, because they really were great. So yeah, in terms of the prices of things there, so yeah, in all of the venues across Japan, actually, that I've seen with West Coast Brewing, the prices seem to be about the same. You're talking about maybe 1,200 yen for like a kind of 300 milliliter glass of beer, and about 1,700 for a pint of like double IPA or something like that. So yeah, it is a little bit pricier than some other breweries you're going to find in Japan, but at the same time, if you go to the brewery and actually see that they're using the German malts and things, you can kind of understand why. You get very good quality beer from these guys. They're using quality ingredients. You know, if you want quality, you're going to have to pay a little bit for it, and yeah, that's what you do get with West Coast Brewing. So yeah, when it comes to the prices of things, if memory serves me correctly, we spent about 18,000 yen roughly at the villa. So that's maybe about what, £90 sterling, 100 euros, 110 US dollars, something like that. So that was for a mix of the food and all the different beers that we had, and we did have quite a few beers there actually. Then at 12 we spent 5,500, which was for the food, and I think we only had one beer there, we just shared one actually. And then at the yard we spent about 10,000 yen, if I'm not mistaken, and that was for all the food that we had, and then we had a beer each there. So yeah, and I got a can to take away as well, and that price at the villa, I should say, I got a big bottle and I did get one of the cans to take away there as well actually. So yeah, in total, what is that? We spent about 23, maybe about 33,000 yen making this video. So yeah, did spend a fair wee bit, but we had a great time doing it, and as I say, we really enjoyed interacting with all the West Coast Brewing staff, and the standard of English amongst them as well is really good. So if you're visiting as a foreigner, West Coast Brewing is a place you can really relax and have fun and actually chat away to the locals a little bit. So yeah, all in all, this was a really fun video to make. Definitely cool to come and visit the home venues, if you like, of West Coast Brewing. This video has been a bit of a marathon, I know, but I've really enjoyed making it, and I hope that you guys watching have enjoyed it as well. So yeah, as always, thank you for your support. Check out my social media, check out West Coast Brewing social media, let me know your favourite beers from them in the comments section below, and we will be returning to these guys for some sit-down reviews in the future as well, and hopefully we can sit down with Derek at some point and maybe do a Meet the Founder review or something like that. That would be really cool. But yeah, until the next time, Slange, Skål, cheers, and Kampai.